Springboks, springboard to the second half of the season.
Same thing, I think.
Yeah, I think same thing. But no, for Eddie Howe and Newcastle, they've given themselves a chance.
Yeah.
You look at the Chelsea result, 5-2 the first leg, no chance. Real Madrid 3-0, Man City, no chance. Too hard. This here 1-0, you go, do you know what, lads?
Yeah. It's a cup final, effectively.
Exactly that.
Okay, what will the score be, D? Live on TalkSport at 5:45 tonight.
Do you know, I think it's a bit of a heartbreak. No, do you know what? I don't. I think Newcastle going to
How
win.
did you change your mind that quick?
No, because I'm thinking about it. Newcastle win this 2-1.
You don't believe that?
I do believe that.
You don't.
If Eddie Howe gets the team selection right, like he did in the first leg, where Barca's...
I just can't see it, D.
But Barca's high line is scary. You get Elanga running, Gordon, Barnes. They should... If they're ruthless in their finishing, they've got a chance.
Right. Liverpool host Galatasaray. That's 8 o'clock tonight. It's live on TalkSport. 1-0 down, of course, from the first leg. Liverpool gaffer Arne Slot has been speaking to the media. He was asked about his side being booed off after drawing against Spurs at the weekend.
People have told me when I came here that if I think you mean it was also towards me. I don't know if you mean that, but when I came here, people have said to me, this club is different than other clubs. They will support the manager for such a long time. So the moment, if it's true what you're saying, I don't feel this at all, but you are supposing something. Then I must have done a lot of things wrong, and that's never a nice feeling to have.
How much of a disaster would it be for Liverpool to go out tonight, D? I mean, it's gigantic, isn't it?
And I can't see it happening. But then again, am I thinking from the old school days where Anfield, Fortress, Champions League night special? Maybe I'm thinking it from that side of things. But I just think Liverpool at home against Galatasaray, I can see them winning this one. Like, listen, Galatasaray are a good side. Won their last 5 games in all competitions, so they're on good form.
Are you watching their weekly games?
What?
Galatasaray?
Yeah,
one of the channels.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
What have you got?
Super League Plus.
You've got that,
yeah, Super League Plus. Yeah.
How do you subscribe to that?
It's an app.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
is it expensive?
No, it's $6.99.
Oh, that is good value.
Yeah, for a month. Yeah,
You watch a lot of their football.
Yeah, fair bit. Yeah, so you start looking at their players. I mean, obviously the one that jumps off the page, Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
Good player. They've got Mario Cardi as well. Sane's there as well. So I think if Liverpool start fast, but a lot faster than they've been starting, by the way, then they've got a chance. But do you know what? I think he's got to find a way of getting Szoboszlai in the middle of the park, man. Szoboszlai's top.
I think he's just got to find a way of making them click tonight, because they have been appalled.
Or just win.
Yeah, I think it's such a tough game for them.
Yeah.
I really do, yeah. It would surprise me if they went out. I said yesterday that all English sides would go out. There was a little bit of hope because I wanted Arsenal to go out. But I can't. I honestly think you'll be the only side through.
So you think Liverpool and
Everyone
Newcastle
goes out, yeah. And Spurs, obviously. I think everyone goes out.
Nah, do you know, I've got a feeling that Liverpool will win this. Liverpool will win this tie.
You're going mad. You've been on the booze.
No,
Newcastle winning Liverpool.
No, I just feel
you're going to call Spurs out next?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, fine.
Do you know what though? Saying that, no, joke.
What will be?
Liverpool 3-0. Liverpool. You heard it here first. Liverpool 3-0. Bang.
Okay. Let's finish with Spurs. They host Atletico. It's live on TalkSport 2 at 8 o'clock tonight. 5-2 down from the first leg. They did pick up, of course, that 1-1 draw at Anfield over the weekend. Defender Mickey van der Ven has been speaking to the media. He said he's not having the idea the players have given up.
Yeah, of course, I've seen things passing by. It's not something I look at a lot, to be honest, but it's just like reporters just say some things the way just like how do you even come up with this, like players are switched off or don't care about the situation, what's happening right now. And the only thing I can say about it's not true. Like, it will be strange if a player will be in the dressing room now and saying like, oh, I'm gonna leave either way, or I don't focus about the situation because everything that's gonna happen, it doesn't affect me. And I think it's just nonsense. It's just like things they're just bringing out, and it's only like, and people just start believing it. And what I said, it's the biggest nonsense. Everybody's just focused on like what's going ahead and what's in front of us.
The next 3 games Spurs have got could define their season. Champions League tonight, I expect them to lose. Nottingham Forest at the weekend, and then they've got Sunderland away the game after that. You can't have a team like Spurs having 3 defeats out of 3, because that knocks them out of the Champions League. And I wouldn't say effectively relegates them, but puts them in a horrible position in the bottom 3.
Yeah, it's tough for them. But I mean, Mickey van der Ven's out there talking about his last 2 appearances. One was the debacle against Atletico Madrid, where he was terrible, and the one before that is when he got set up against Palace.
Yeah, you're not his biggest fan.
No, because people have constantly told me about, they put him in a bracket, world class. He's better than Gabriel Saliba. He's not. He's not. There's levels. He's not. He's fast. He's exciting. But in terms of a defender, which is your job to defend, he's not. But this is a big game for Spurs. But the bigger game Sunday. So I don't know what Igor Tudor does in terms of team selection, because yes, you
can't go into Sunday's game on the back of a Tonkin at home.
Imagine you play your full strength against Athletic and get smashed.
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah, and get injuries.
So it's a tough one for him to be in.
Would you play Richarlison tonight?
Yeah, I'd play him every game.
I know, but you just said Forest is a bigger game.
He's a bit, yeah. But it's a tough one because with Richarlison, right, regardless how many minutes he plays for, when he comes on, and people might say, yeah, he's not his cup of tea, he's not my cup of tea in some respects, but
he's a pest.
He's a pest, and the chance always seems to fall to him. Like, you look at the game at the weekend, Liverpool scores a good goal.
Yeah, but their defending was terrible.
I get it, but he's always there. That's my point.
Yeah, okay.
Like, why is he there and no one else is? It's not by accident. So
no.
I'd play. If you can go him and Solanke every single game now between now and the end of the season, I think you'll get more joy.
Chance. Okay, what will the score be tonight? Tonight, not overall. Take your time.
4-1. No, 3-1 Atletico.
You think they're Tonkin?
Yeah, 3-1. Okay.
That was a look at tonight's European action with our friends at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever it is, they're here for it.
European football preview on Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
Now, a reminder, I've been saying it since we're coming out at 4 from 5:45 right here, so 30 minutes time on Talk Sport. You can hear that Barcelona against Newcastle match. But don't worry, if you want to carry on listening to our show on Drive, just for today, you can watch us from 5:30 till 7 only on Talk Sport's YouTube channel or on your smart TV. Just search for Talk Sport.
Richarlison's suspended tonight, so he can't play.
Oh, okay. Is that what I asked? No, I'll go back to my... Would you play Richarlison tonight?
No, I wouldn't, because he's suspended.
There you go. There was the question. We know what we're talking about here.
Yes,
yeah, we just tested. 5:30, remember, in 30 minutes, the only place you can carry on listening to our show is on YouTube. We'll take your call, shall we, when we come back? Yes. Which of the English sides will be making it through tonight? 3 in action. Will 3 become none tomorrow? 03717 223344. Dial that. You'll be next. Live and Drive.
Sport. It's in your DNA. And at SpreadX Sports, we want you to gamble responsibly. Set sportsbook deposit limits to help stay in control of your spending. Use our handy fixed odds timeout feature, which allows you to take a break when you need it. At SpreadX Sports, our safer gambling tools are designed to let you play within your limits and gamble responsibly. Visit spreadx.com/DNA. SpreadX Sports. It's in our DNA. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Which business insurance provider is trusted by nearly 1 million customers? Take it away, Gina.
Simply Business.
From builders to bakers to beauticians. If you need business insurance, join nearly 1 million customers who trust Simply
Business.
So search Simply Business today.
Simply Business.
That's enough, Gina. T's and C's and acceptance criteria apply. UK only.
At Bet365, we want to help you make every moment extraordinary. That's why we make it easy to change things up. You can take a time out, set up reality checks, and set your limits. Because when you make the most of the moments without us, it means you can enjoy the moments with us. When you play safe with Bet365. 18+. Please play responsibly. Visit gambleaware.org.
All right, we've got Simon on the line. Simon, young people, they're just all a bit lazy, aren't they? What do you think?
Welcome to McDonald's. Can I get 6 nuggets, please? Of course.
Some say young people are work shy, but at McDonald's, we hired 47,000 of them last year.
So, how's your night?
Yeah. Like George here, who keeps things running during a Friday rush. Resilience, making it happen at McDonald's.
At AJ Bell, we believe investing is for everyone. And when we say everyone, we mean your dad, Dan, Danielle, Dean, Dave, Dale, Dell's delivery driver Denise, Denise's dentist Dinesh, and Devon's strongest man, Donathan. Donathan? That can't be right. Donathan? Well, whatever your name is. If you're a real person, investing is for you too. AJ Bell, feel good investing. The value of your investments can go up or down.
So I'll now hand you over to my best man, Eddie. Wow. Second time's a charm, eh, Billy boy?
Oh, God.
Substitution courtesy of Paddy Power. Embarrassing Eddie makes way for sensible Samuel.
God, that was close.
You might not always pick the right starter, but your sub can still deliver. Because with Paddy's Super Sub, your bet rolls over to the player coming on. Paddy Power.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Pre-match and in-play bets on qualifying player outcome selections only. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18+, gambleware.org.
Talk Sport Travel with Subway. Leave ordinary sandwiches on the bench. Bring on the new baked breaded chicken sub. How's that for a flavour hat-trick?
Good evening. There are long delays on the Surrey stretch of the M25 this evening. The outside lane of 3 is shut clockwise at junction 11 at Chertsey, where a lorry has broken down. Still really slow on the Essex stretch as well, clockwise towards the M11, after the motorway was closed for over 12 hours following that accident involving 3 lorries in the early hours of this morning. And still really slow on the M11 northbound through Essex up to 7 at Harlow, where the motorway is partly blocked by a crash. I'm Johnny Batner.
Right, who's all in for Cancer Research UK's Race for Life? Sunday Leaguers, dog lovers, bait clubbers, banker dancers, baby ravers, potters. Whether you walk it, jog it, or run it, go all in against cancer. All in to help fund life-saving research. Sign up to your local 3K, 5K, 10K or Pretty Muddy event from just $14.99. Search Race for Life. Prices vary by event distance and participant age.
Feel the heat with a fiery Friday night double on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. From 8, Bournemouth go head-to-head with Manchester United in the Premier League on TalkSport as Preston take on Stoke in the Championship on TalkSport 2. Red-hot Friday night football on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Ouch.
Well, man, Champions League drama on TalkSport. Me, Andy Gold, sitting down Bennett alongside a big reminder of 5:45 tonight right here on TalkSport. You can hear Barcelona against Newcastle. But don't worry, my drive time friends. If you want to carry on listening to our show, and we'll, of course, keep you up to date with that match, you can watch us from 5:30 only on TalkSport's YouTube channel or your smart TV. Just search for TalkSport. All right? So don't worry, but in 8 minutes, we won't be on TalkSport just for today. The only place you can hear us to continue with the show is on YouTube. All right? Don't worry. In fact, if you miss out, you'll be a tube. Right, just quickly, former Chelsea senior exec Christian Purslow has said that the Premier League were way too generous in its punishment for the club for making secret payments relating to transfers. I echo those sentiments. Chelsea defender Enzo Fernandez has said that he doesn't know whether he'll be at the club next season. What have you made of Enzo? Been a bit of a disappointment, right? 150?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's not lived up to that price tag, but he's done all right. Got some important goals, but maybe a little bit of when he doesn't score. What exactly does he do? What else? But he's been all right. I think he's been okay. He scored some important goals for Chelsea this season. But if you're looking at the 100 million, like I've looked at Caicedo and thought, yeah, I can see why they paid 100 million for him.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting with Enzo Fernandez.
Yesterday, Jay and I were talking about Chelsea, and their aim is to build one of, if not the best squad in world football. Yeah. Where are they at with that project, in your opinion?
Miles off, because every single time they get to they buy a player cheap, young. As soon as they get to a peak of their powers, they sell. So unless you start keeping some of these top players and building the squad that way, it's not going to happen. But if you keep getting them, you buy them, I don't know, 19, 20 years old, they'd be unbelievable. You buy them for 10 million and then they get a value of 17, you go, do you know what, we'll take it now.
Then it works. It's a big risk, right? Because if you're buying players for the future, you're effectively gambling on whether or not they're going to be good players. If you look at, for argument's sake, and I know it's Man City, but they are buying ready-made players. None more so than in the last transfer window.
Chelsea
get Semenyo and they get Mark Guehi as well. Yeah. It's a hell of a gamble for Chelsea.
Well, think about what Chelsea did with Thiago Silva. I mean, the guy was older.
Yeah.
Ultimately ended up staying for 4 years. Look what he did for them. I mean, if you dropped him in the middle of their back four now, they'd look better. Simply for the leadership aspect. I think you need a little bit. It's all well and good having players, all young players, and don't get me wrong, there are players in the Chelsea squad that are very talented young players, like special young players that maybe haven't reached the peak of their powers yet. But if you just dropped sprinkled a little bit of experience in there as well, it's going to help them. They're going to develop faster, if anything.
Yeah.
If you've got a young centre half playing next to Thiago Silva,
of course you are. Well, like with John Terry and Desai, right?
A prime example of that. Yeah. You go, wow, okay. He starts to learn the ropes a little bit more. But when you've got two inexperienced centre halves, like I'll give you an example. Titus Bramble at Ipswich, right? obviously went to Newcastle and stuff.
Yeah.
When he played alongside a guy called Tony Mowbray, who was like older and more experienced, that's how he got the move to Newcastle. He was unbelievable. But
you're not going to get that at Chelsea with these players.
But you need to. I understand you've got a model, but you need sometimes to look at the situation and go, do you know what? And I'm sure Liam Rossini knows that. He'd go, do you know what? I know you got this model and this is what you want to do, develop players. But let's just, like a centre-half. I'm trying to think of an older statesman centre-half who's decent. Like Virgil. I know you're not going to get him, but you put any young centre-half that's the Virgil, he's going to learn.
Yeah. I don't quite understand the model because there's no proof that it is working. And as I say, if you're buying potential, I mean, that in itself is a giant gamble. There might be a good player. Even like Cole Palmer, right?
Yeah.
Last season, looked £100 million plus player.
Well, the year before he looked 150.
Yeah, and now, all of a sudden, I'm not saying he's got worse, but, there's certainly no signs that he's getting to the next level yet.
Well, right, he made a really good point when he was in there for his 7 minutes. That he basically said that, obviously, you watch Cole Palmer now, he can be devastating, can't he? He can tear teams to pieces.
Yeah.
But now people are not affording him that same space. So it's now up to him to go and find other areas to go and pick up the ball and do more damage.
Okay. Still to come now, big reminder, Drive Time continues live on YouTube in just a moment and your smart TV with Barca against Newcastle here on your radio. But first it's time for No Googling. We want to know who's the oldest ever player to start a game as captain in the Champions League. That is an unbelievable question. Who's the oldest player ever to start a game as captain in the Champions League? And of course, if you want that answer, you'll have to join us on YouTube in just a moment. Remember, we are next on YouTube. Because at 5:45 tonight, right here on TalkSport, you can hear Barcelona against Newcastle. But don't worry if you want to carry on listening to our show on Drive, because you can watch us from 5:30 only on TalkSport's YouTube channel, and that's where we'll be next.
The UK government is backing businesses with support to grow overseas. Darren Litton is the founder of Cocoba, a company that's grown from a humble pop-up kiosk to a luxury chocolate brand that's now exporting to Europe, North America and Australia.
Hi, I'm Darren Litton. UK Export Finance has been a fantastic resource for us and a great help. They're at the end of the phone with any questions we have, and also being able to guarantee our trade finance facility, which have also been fantastic. The support we've had from UK Export Finance has enabled us to get our trade finance loan, which means that we've not had to say no to an order overseas, and helped us to expand into a lot of different markets, including the US, Canada, Australia, Japan, Netherlands, and many other countries that we're currently speaking to and launching into. It's helped us to manage risk by, if there's ever any problems with being able to get insurance on a customer overseas, they're there and able to provide assistance in most of the cases.
To find out more about how your business could benefit from UK Export Finance support, visit ukexportfinance.gov.uk.
Buzzing for the game this week. I want to hear what my mates are saying. I want to tell them they're delusional. I want to tell them who'll score first. I want to call the half-time score and the full-time score. And when our kid pipes up and says, want to bet? I'll stop. Think about it. Check my limits. Check how much I've played. And maybe I'll think, nah, not today, mate. Sometimes the best bet is the one you don't make. Gamble responsibly. Betfred. 18+, gambleaware.org.
If your client is not happy with the quality of your work and wants compensation because they allege it's amateurish, unprofessional and childlike, Hiscox could help protect you. The story of your business, underwritten by Hiscox Business Insurance. Subject to already holding a relevant Hiscox policy and subject policy eligibility, terms and conditions.
Meet iPhone 17e, a whole lot for a lot less, with an almighty all-powerful A19 chip and Ceramic Shield 2 built to survive this, and a 48-megapixel fusion camera with 2 times optical quality zoom and next-gen portraits, and double the starting storage of iPhone 16e, and long-lasting battery life for hours and hours of streaming. And you can charge it with USB-C or with MagSafe accessories, and a whole lot more, all for a lot less. Get the new iPhone 17e today. Ceramic Shield 2 on front display, battery life varies by use, accessories sold separately, price compared to iPhone 17 at apple.com/UK.
This season, LiveScoreBet is bringing you more ways to win with our weekly promotions. No goal? No problem. VAR payout to the rescue. 2 goals ahead? Cha-ching. Rest easy and enjoy the game courtesy of 2Up. Celebrate every goal, every twist and every turn this season with LiveScoreBet, bringing you more ways to win. LiveScoreBet. Total betting. Eligible leagues and markets vary. Full T&Cs apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Kickoff.
Online, on YouTube, on the TalkSport app. Kickoff, live.
The adrenaline-charged weeknight football academy.
Stamina, celebrity, light-speed weeknight football.
Athletic accomplishment meets peerless professionalism and pride.
Superstar football.
Kickoff, live on TalkSport.
All three Champions League ties involving English sides are live on the TalkSport network tonight, and we start with Newcastle away to Barcelona, who were lucky to fly away from Tyneside with a draw last week. Lewis Hall had Lamine Yamal in his pocket. Newcastle pace on the break. This could be a very special night for Eddie Howe and the Toon Army.
Newcastle 1, Barcelona 1. It's Lamine Yamal with the penalty. Oh, heartbreak for Newcastle here at St James's Park.
We've got to put all of our bits together to be in with the chance of progressing. The details of this game are going to be important, dealing with their strengths and also trying to produce our best moments.
Yamal with a dancing footwork into the penalty area. Curling shot, magnificent! Oh yes! He is something special!
If the game does go on tighter, longer, can Eddie Howe make the right changes to allow them to break through Barcelona?
It's a lovely ball through this time by Tonali. Barnes is onside. Tight angle, Barnes! For Newcastle United!
We'll do the work in the same way. We're preparing the same way. Yes, we're in a different environment, one we've never been to before. We'll enjoy the game when it comes, but we'll only truly enjoy it if we deliver what we know we need to deliver.
It's probably the biggest game in Newcastle's history, so it could be a real achievement to go in there and get a win and progress.
Hi there, I'm Adrian Durham, TalkSport, with a trio of Champions League deciders tonight here at Spurs. It's either going to be a crazy comeback or toxic Tottenham. This one live on TalkSport 2 at 8. Liverpool 1 down to Galatasaray with fans turning on Slot. That's live on TalkSport at 8. If you can't get enough drive with Goldstein and Bent, then you can actually watch the pair of them right now. They are finishing off the drive show on the TalkSport YouTube channel or on CTV, so make sure you check that out. And does anybody want the no Googling answer? Shall I give the no Googling answer? Let me give the no Googling answer. David Weir is the answer for Rangers against Bursaspor, 7th of December 2010. 40 years and 212 days. I got it exactly right to the day as well. I know all you did as well, you brain boxes out there. Less than 15 to kick off in the Nou Camp. It's Barcelona Newcastle, 1-1 from the first leg last week. Here's your team news with your commentator, Joe Shannon.
Good evening, Adrian. 5 changes from the win at Chelsea for Newcastle, just 1 from the first leg 8 days ago. Anthony Gordon, the match winner at Stamford Bridge, starts up front in place of Willisula. So that means that Sandro Tonali is fit to play after illness. From the weekend, Trippier, Joel Linton, Byrne and Ilanga are the others to come back in. So Newcastle have Ramsdale in goal, Trippier, Chow, Byrne and Hall, Ramsey, Tonali and Joel Linton, Ilanga and Barnes either side of Gordon up front. The Newcastle bench contains 3 goalkeepers, Pope, Ruddy and young Aidan Harris, Neve, Osula, Murphy, that's Alex Murphy, Wisser, Voltemada, Jacob Murphy, Willock, Botman and Livramento are the rest of the Newcastle bench. Lamine Yamal returns to the Barcelona team after starting the 5-2 win over Sevilla on the bench due to illness. He is 1 goal away from equalling Kylian Mbappe's record for the most Champions League goals scored before turning 19. That's 10. Eric Garcia for Araujo is the only change for Barcelona from the first leg. So Johan Garcia is in goal, Eric Garcia, Kubasi, Gerard Martin and Cancelo at the back, Bernal and Pedri holding, Yamal, Fermin Lopez and Rafinha behind Robert Lewandowski up front.
Joe, thanks very much. Former England striker Dean Ashton on co-commentary duty. How you doing, Dean?
Really good, Aid, thank you. Hope you well.
Yeah, very well. Excited about this. Now, Newcastle were way better than Barcelona last week. They need to be better again this week, and this time they need to make it count.
Yes, they do. It's about being clinical in the Champions League. We've seen it from the likes of PSG last night in particular, and Real Madrid. When you get to this level of competition, the knockout stage, the best teams, the best players, which we're certainly going to see on show from Barcelona, you have to be clinical. And Newcastle in that first leg showed that they weren't, and they were terrific, I thought, caused Barcelona lots of problems, defended really, really well. This is a a different task, though. I don't know about you, Aid. I mean, certainly for me, I think about what I thought when I was younger, and you come through as a kid, you look at the new camp, there's something magical about it, and it was always that dream to play there. I don't want to just single out Dan Burn, but I look at someone like Dan Burn. He's at Darlington, he's about to play in the new camp, in the knockout stages of the Champions League. That is something special. Who can raise themselves to that dream fixture that you're about to play? Gutted if you're not, gutted if you're on the bench, but if you're starting, what an opportunity to do something that'll be remembered for a long time.
Well, Dan Burn needn't worry because Lewandowski's 37, so he's past it. And behind him, you've only got Rafinha, who used to be at Leeds. And I know he got a hat-trick at the weekend. Fermin Lopez scores goals. Lamine Yamal, well, Lewis Hall will have Lamine Yamal wrapped up all day long. He did in that first leg. And what I love about that is it kind of, in 190 minutes at St James Park last week, Lewis Hall solved England's left-back problem, didn't he?
I thought he was that good as well. I agree with you. You know, when you think of that test and how well he did, not only defensively, but then he causes problems going the other way for any winger that he plays against. And you're right. But these fixtures do that. Hey, they're standout fixtures that can really kind of raise eyebrows and consolidate people's thoughts about how good you are as a player and how you can handle the pressure, because that's what these games are. They're highly pressurised fixtures that are different to your regular fixtures, and who can handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Rafinha's hat-trick at the weekend, and he did get one. They beat Sevilla 5-2, and that was without Yamal. It is worth noting Sevilla are pretty terrible this season, but Barca are top, 4 points clear in Spain. But for me, when I look at that, Dean, I think, well, you can either be fearful of that, or you can actually acknowledge, wow, didn't Newcastle do well last week, when you think that the penalty in injury time was only Barcelona's second shot on target in the game. Now that's not by chance. This is about players playing well, but also Eddie Howe getting it right.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that Eddie Howe does get it right. Obviously, Anthony Gordon is now favoured through the middle. You've got three recognised strikers all sat on the bench. He's recognising Eddie Howe, I think, what's best for his team at the moment. And today's line-up, Livramento, I thought, was a little unlucky to miss out, but there's a reason that Trippier's there. Maybe that experience, that Spanish experience in particular, that he's got. So hopefully the manager's got it right. But then again, I don't think players will look at what Rafinha and the like have done at the weekend, because you've already seen them. You've come face to face with them. You've played against them. You already know what they're about. I think it's more about the occasion and the new camp. For anyone that says, you know, a stadium and an atmosphere and a historic place such as that doesn't affect you, they're lying. It does. That's what's going to be between, I think, Newcastle and actually getting a result tonight.
You're 100% correct. It's iconic as a football venue. There's no question about that. And maybe, just maybe, that might play a part this evening. We'll wait and see on that. The midfield for Newcastle, when all three are fit, it's arguably the best midfield three in the Premier League. There was a doubt about Tonali. He is fit. He starts. I'm wondering how fit he is. But it is also one of those nights, Dean, where you wish Bruno Guimaraes was fit.
Yeah, because he's a talismanic figure for them, and I think he does thrive off the big occasion, Guimaraes, and yeah, they will miss him, but I think Ramsey's done well since he's come in, and he gives you something different. Ramsey will give you that genuine running and timing into the penalty area. I think they really need that, because their two wide players tend to stay wide, so Gordon's going to need that player to get into the box. Joe Linton's got to do the same, but it's a powerhouse midfield against, you know, technical wonder kids in Barcelona's side. So that's what's so fascinating about that battle in particular.
Newcastle, you know, they're hovering around mid-table, dipping into the bottom half now and then. It's not been a stellar, memorable season in terms of the Premier League. However, they won at Chelsea at the weekend, but I've got a slightly different take on that game. They gave up a lot of chances to Chelsea, and I don't think Barcelona will defend as lazily or as badly as Chelsea did for the Newcastle goal. If you remember, Fofana's just ambling, jogging back when Anthony Gordon races past him to score the only goal of the game. So this is a completely different test. This is and there's so much at stake with this as well, to get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and then you're looking forward to a semi-final potentially against Arsenal in the Champions League. And if you can get past the team that's going to be the English champions, you are in Budapest in the final. So much at stake here, but Newcastle can't afford to give up that many chances tonight, can they?
No, they can't, and of course they'll gain confidence from the victory at Stamford Bridge. But I'm with you. I don't think you can get over the top with that result because of the way the game panned out. And actually, Chelsea gifted them a victory. Really, they didn't have to work too hard in the end. They will tonight. They're going to have to be, I think, near perfect to get through against Barcelona. The one thing I would say, if I was to back any team, I think Newcastle are the type of team you could throw them against anybody in world football. I would think they'd have a chance. I think they're that type of team.
Well, Eddie Howe's already said, Dean, that he thinks his players know that they need to be at their absolute very best to qualify. And let's just have a quick look as the teams are in the tunnel. A quick look at what strengths Newcastle have. When I look at Elanga on one side, Barnes the other, and Gordon through the middle. Hansi Flick expressed concern yesterday about Newcastle's pace on the break, and you suspect they will be, attacking on the break tonight. You suspect that Barcelona might well be camped in the Newcastle half for a long time. New camped in there probably. So that pace on the break, Hansi Flick has got that right. They've got to guard against that. That could be a big weapon for Newcastle.
Yes, and how disciplined can Barcelona be in that respect? I'm not too sure. When you've got the likes of Cancelo, who will want to go and drift from his full-back area, and those midfield players, can they be disciplined? That's why Elanga's playing. He's got 1 goal and 1 assist in 43 games this season. That's not a great return at all. He's playing because of his electric pace on the break that they want to cause from. This is why, another reason why Gordon's been playing through the centre. That pace and intelligent running that he's got, again, has to be used this evening and has to be clinical when they get those opportunities.
Barcelona and Newcastle players on their way out onto the pitch. Champions League music is going. Liverpool 1 down to Galatasaray. That's coming up on TalkSport at 8. Here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Spurs 5-2 down to Atletico Madrid. That is coming up at 8 on TalkSport 2. Eddie Howe's managerial career started with defeat for Bournemouth away to Darlington just over 17 years ago. They conceded an injury time penalty to lose a game they'd led. He's gone from South Coast to North East, picked up a trophy along the way, and he's now in the new camp for the biggest night of his football life. Barcelona against Newcastle stands at 1-1. Are you ready, Eddie? Second leg live on TalkSport with former England striker Dean Ashton alongside Joe Shannon.
Thanks, Adrian. Well, these are the nights Newcastle fans have waited for. A date with Champions League royalty at one of European football's iconic venues, and the prospect of one of the most memorable evenings in the club's history. A shot at reaching the quarter-finals of Europe's Premier Club competition for the first time ever. And if they do it, it'll be in Barcelona's backyard. The revamped Nou Camp is ready to go. The floodlights are on. The Champions League anthem has rung around the stadium, and the job could hardly be much tougher for Newcastle, yet the reward could barely be sweeter. Let the night unfold as Newcastle bid to make dreams come true. Ramsdale is their goalkeeper. Trippier, Chow, Byrne and Hall. Ramsey, Tonali, who is fit after illness, and Joel Linton in midfield. Elanga and Barnes either side of Gordon up front. So that's just one change from the first leg for Newcastle. For Barcelona, the goalkeeper is Johan Garcia. Eric Garcia, Kubasi, Martin and Cancelo at the back. Bernal and Pedri in the middle. Lamine Yamal, Fermin Lopez and Rafinha behind Robert Lewandowski up front. Well, this stadium is packed at its temporary capacity of 62,000. Hansi Flick just taking a swig of water from a water bottle on his near side of the field. And now the pennants are exchanged, Kieran Trippier and Rafinha, as we await the coin toss on the halfway line. This is a very, very special night for Newcastle United, Dean.
It is. Of course, there'll be nerves for the Newcastle players, no matter how experienced you are. You said that revamped Nou Camp was still an incredibly historic stadium, but it's about harnessing that those nerves and maybe excitement into a top performance and being really focused and sharp for Newcastle in every aspect, because they're going to have to be near perfect, and they really do need Elanga, Gordon and Barnes to be on top form.
Well, they're into a huddle ahead of kick-off here. Newcastle United, 3,100 supporters have made the trip to Barcelona from the northeast of England on what could turn into one of Newcastle's greatest ever nights. Level at 1-1 from the first leg and the second leg of the round of 16. A place in the quarter-finals at stake, about to get off and underway. There are cloudy skies overhead in Barcelona, about 14 degrees, relatively humid in the air, and Newcastle will kick the game off, playing from right to left in the black and white striped shirts, white shorts and white socks, and Barcelona, the Blaugrana, in their familiar red and blue. The game is off and underway. Barcelona playing from left to right. Newcastle go long straight away, out towards the left wing position, and Harvey Barnes sliding in his Marc Bernal for Barcelona. And Dan Burn, what a night for the boy from Blythe, 6'6", hammers it high upfield, looking for Anthony Gordon. Across comes Kubasi on the cover, and he heads it out to play for a Newcastle throw deep in Barcelona territory. They take it quickly. Gordon on this near side of the field, thinks about an in-swinging right-footed cross, turns away from the defender Eric Garcia and was fouled. Newcastle free kick in a very dangerous area, just a few seconds in.
He's such a willing runner, isn't he, Anthony Gordon? He will work and work and work. And the benefit is then when he comes out to the left-hand side, as he did there, he can turn into that winger that he's so used to being. Brilliant little turn away from Eric Garcia, who tugs him back. Good position for Newcastle.
Barcelona 0, Newcastle 0. On the night, 1-1 on aggregate. Newcastle have never reached the quarter-final of the Champions League, and Barcelona aiming to reach their 25th European Cup quarter-final. Big deep breath from Sandro Tonali. Free kick a yard infield from the touchline. Whipped in right-footed, headed away at the near post. Comes out to Elanga, scoops it back into the penalty area, and it's gathered by Johan Garcia, the Barcelona goalkeeper. Quick throw out to Yamal, who chests the ball down on the halfway line. Fermin Lopez is after it, well marshalled by Joel Linton. This is an excellent start from Newcastle. Tonali with a good ball down the left-hand side. Harvey Barnes is onto it, left edge of the penalty area. Barnes steps inside, crosses right-footed, headed away up into the air by João Cancelo, and behind for a Newcastle United corner.
Yeah, terrific all-round, really. Joe Linton too strong for Lopez. Brilliant ball from Tonali down to Harvey Barnes, who does brilliantly just to get half a yard to get the cross in. And Elanga, that's why you've only got one goal this season, just stood watching the cross. Get yourself inside Cancelo there for a header, and you might have scored.
Corner taken short by Trippier. Lewis Hall in the penalty area, and it's won back by Trippier. Right-hand edge of the 18-yard box. Looks up, floats in the cross. Chow at the back post, nodding it down. Burn is up there, spinning and shooting straight at the chest of the goalkeeper.
Well, that would have been some story, wouldn't it? For Dan Burn. He is the man for the big occasion. Chow it was that headed it down to him. Lovely first touch to swivel. Struck it well with his right foot. The goalkeeper read it perfectly.
Well, Newcastle have been dominant in the opening 3 minutes as Elanga gives it away, and it's hammered upfield by Gerard Martin for Barcelona. If you're just tuning into Talk Sport and expecting to hear Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent, the boys are still live until 7 o'clock as usual. Just tune in on the Talk Sport YouTube channel right now. They're taking your calls on 03717 22 3344. So Drive continues on our YouTube channel or on your smart TV. 2 more live commentaries to come later. Liverpool against Galatasaray and Tottenham against Atletico Madrid on TalkSport 2. Again, make sure you download our free app. It's perfect for nights like these. Ramsdale drills the ball upfield for Newcastle. Barcelona win it back on the halfway line, and for the first time in the game really, Dean Ashton, 4 minutes or so in, Barcelona string a couple of passes together.
Yeah, it's a really good start from Newcastle, just in terms of that intensity, and to show that they're not fazed by this occasion, not letting Barcelona settle at all. showing them that physically I think they will have the edge. Once Barcelona start to get the ball down, we'll see the technical ability that they have.
Cancelo goes on the outside of Trippier, gets past him, looks for Rafinha. Rafinha low ball in. Great defending by Byrne coming across. Rafinha really starting to whip up the crowd. He scored a hat-trick at the weekend, including 2 penalties here in the victory over Sevilla. And Barcelona have their first corner of the second leg on the far side of the field.
Yeah, Rafinha just running off the back of Thiaw. Botman needed to come across there and cover, and he did. That's what good centre-back partnership is all about.
Plenty of blue and red shirts in the penalty area for Barcelona. In comes the corner. Ramsdale is there, takes it well, high out of the air in his sky blue shirt. Aaron Ramsdale, who looked very confident in the warm-up before the game, then lashes the ball high upfield. One in the air by Gordon to nod it down, but shepherded back to his goalkeeper by the retreating Pedri, who for a moment has stepped in between the two Barcelona central defenders. 0-0 and 1-1 on aggregate. Yamal's first real touches for Barcelona. Good early ball. Rafinha, the defender slipped. Fermin Lopez, Rafinha with the chance, and he scored. Barcelona take the lead inside 5.5 minutes, and it's the former Leeds man, Rafinha, who has curled them in front, to the joy of the vast majority of the Nou Camp. Newcastle caught out defensively. There was a very important slip in the build-up to that goal, but how Rafinha showed calm and composure to cut it away from Ramsdale. And in the end, after what had looked like a promising opening, it is the worst possible start for Newcastle United. Barcelona 1, Newcastle 0. Barcelona lead 2-1 on aggregate.
Oh, and that's what some of the best in the world can do against you. Stunning from Lamine Yamal in the middle of the pitch. Thiaw left on his backside. The turn from Yamal was perfect. I think it's Hall that slips, which opens it up for Lopez, tucks it back to Rafinha, and he really does find the gap between Dan Burn and the far corner. He picks it out perfectly, just waits until the ball is perfect for him, doesn't rush it. Firm side foot past Burn into the corner. What a break. Fantastic for Barcelona.
High fives for Rafinha and Yamal. It is Rafinha, the Brazilian, who has put Barcelona in front. It had been all Newcastle up until that moment, but such is the rich quality in this Barcelona side. An 18th goal of the season for Rafinha. And for Newcastle United, what began as an onerous task at the start of the night just got much, much harder for Eddie Howe's team, Dean.
Absolutely. It was at Stamford Bridge last night. Similar happened. You make a mistake at this level with these players, they will punish you. First of all, it was Thiaw that went fishing in choppy waters in the middle of the pitch. You can't do that against the likes of Yamal. He was away. And then Hall slips at the worst possible moment, leaving a 2v1 that they took advantage of. They're the details at this level that will cost you, and it did.
Former England striker Dean Ashton with us tonight on TalkSport. Barcelona through again. Fermin Lopez, good goalkeeping. Ramsdale right out to the edge of his penalty area, had to go with his feet there. Aaron Ramsdale just about beat Fermin Lopez to the ball.
Oh, that was vital goalkeeping, and he took a risk because he knew he had to launch himself towards Lopez, and he did it perfectly because he's in big trouble if he doesn't there. Ramsdale showed a bit of pace as well to get out of his goal.
It did look like Fermin Lopez was going to beat him to it. Newcastle 2-1 down on aggregate then here in the Champions League, live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever it is, they're here for it. Barcelona with Yamal trying a dummy on the halfway line. It's run through to Joel Linton with the dyed blonde hair. Chow nearly turning into trouble. Tonali from the edge of the centre circle pops it out wide to Kieran Trippier. Plenty of experience in Spain for Trippier, as Dean was referring to earlier in his time with Atletico Madrid. And then there's a heavy touch from Anthony Elanga straight out of play, and Newcastle appear rocked by conceding that early goal, and they've got to be careful this tie does not get away from them in the first half.
No, I mean, the intensity of the start's been incredible. First 4 minutes was Newcastle's, they were terrific, and all of a sudden Barcelona respond with a killer counter-attack.
A good interception by Trippier ahead of Rafinha, and then an early ball by Tonali, threaded up the right wing looking for Elanga, rolls out of play on this carpet-like surface at the Nou Camp, and it's a Barcelona throw just shy of the halfway line. You're listening to Talk Sport. Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent continues right now on the Talk Sport YouTube channel and on your smart TV, so you can join the boys there up until the usual time of 7 o'clock. And later on Talk Sport, we'll have Liverpool against Galatasaray for you, Spurs against Atletico Madrid on Talk Sport 2. Tomorrow night, Aston Villa against Lille on Talk Sport. The earlier commentary on Talk Sport 2 is Midtjylland against Nottingham Forest, and we've got plenty coming up over the weekend, including Newcastle against Sunderland on Sunday and the League Cup final. Reverse ball, Yamal nearly squeezed it through to Fermin Lopez. Sliding in was Tonali, making a very good interception for Newcastle. Hall has shuffled the ball forward, but he's given it away. And Barcelona, leading 1-0 on the night, 2 on an aggregate, are into the groove now. Although they've given it away to Harvey Barnes. Sliding in is Bernal, the youngster, 18 years of age, and he catches Barnes in the left wing position. It's a free kick to Newcastle. And will there be any further punishment for Bernal? I don't think so.
Well, I just wonder whether Newcastle feel like if it is a chaotic game, it suits them as much as it does Barcelona. You just can feel that the pressure and the momentum's with the home side. Maybe just a bit of experience needed to go, hang on, let's just drop deep. We've got the players to counter-attack. Let's just calm things down for Newcastle, because Barcelona are looking so strong.
There's a lot of tension in the air, isn't there? You can see it almost in the faces of the Newcastle players. Already a goal down on the night and a goal down on aggregate. Sandro Tonali over the free kick beneath the floodlights as the wind picks up at the Nou Camp. Tonali standing over the ball. It'll be right-footed in, swinging from the left wing, this delivery. Live on Talk Sport with 11 minutes gone. In by Tonali, right-footed, headed away. Newcastle can't make anything off the set piece. Hall retrieves it on the halfway line and rolls it all the way back to Ramsdale, who clatters it long under pressure, thundering down the middle of the Barcelona half, where it's met by the firm header away from Pau Kubasi. No foul on Lewandowski, with Byrne on the halfway line. That's a key battle tonight. Now Anthony Elanga has run the ball straight out of play for Newcastle United, and Eddie Howe on the near side touchline has already got quite a concerned look on his face, Steve.
And again, just a couple of elementary mistakes. It does come down to pressure, has to at times. And Elanga there just pushing the ball out of play when he's got a chance to get at the fullback. Simple things. Hall slipping at the vital moment. Why? Look back to the early part of the goal. Yes, the ball into Yamal in a dangerous area in midfield, but surely your centre-back shouldn't be going out all that way. Probably wasn't needed so early on.
Well, Chelsea couldn't do it yesterday. Real Madrid eased past Manchester City. Arsenal through against Bayer Leverkusen. Newcastle were level at the start of the night. They're 2-1 down on aggregate now. Malik Chow shepherds the ball away from Lewandowski towards the corner flag. Newcastle defending the end away to the right-hand side. Down goes Hall under pressure from Lamine Yamal, and the free kick is given by the assistant referee, Lewis Hall, who surely on the basis of recent performances should be England's first choice left-back, particularly given his display in the first leg 8 days ago, albeit this is a different kind of cauldron altogether, isn't it, the Nou Camp?
Very much so. It was interesting, wasn't it, to see Yamal drift into that almost 10 position. I think that's a big obviously positive for Lewis Hall, in that he doesn't want to be really up against him, but really clever from Yamal to go, do you know what, I didn't get the joy, I'm going to go somewhere else and find space and hurt you as a team. For such a young player, he's got that awareness, I think, and understanding in the game already.
Fermin Lopez in the centre circle, trying to roll the ball through towards Rafinha, when intercepted by Trippier coming across from right back. Joel Linton wanted one touch too many, but he has wriggled away from a couple of blue and red shirts. Byrne will set it back to Ramsdale. Lots of Barcelona flags being waved behind that goal. Ramsdale eases the ball out to the right back position on the far side. Now Jacob Ramsey barely had a kick so far, the former Aston Villa player. Looks to Hall on the near side of the field with a good ball, and Hall can shuffle forward. Very high defensive line for Barcelona. Hall is in down the left-hand side. Early ball across. Anthony Elanga. He's clear. Elanga! Newcastle level! What a time to pick your moment! Anthony Elanga sends 3,000 travelling fans of the Nou Camp into raptures, and Newcastle have fought back. Barcelona 1, Newcastle 1, 2-2 on aggregate. What a game already!
A lightning break, electric from Elanga, using that pace to its use. But Lewis Hall, I tell you what, it's brilliant from him. Little flick round to Harvey Barnes, he follows his path, and then the pass is made to him, and he puts in a delicious ball. It really is. Hall just puts it across. Elanga keeps himself onside, just sizes up the goalkeeper, Juan Garcia, and he just flicks the ball the other side of him as he goes down to his left. Goes between his wrist and his thigh. It's a cute finish from Elanga, and what a moment for him in the Nou Camp and for Newcastle.
Well, can you believe it for Anthony Elanga? Just his second Newcastle United goal. And it comes in Catalonia on this most important of nights, and the tsunami roar, drowning out the home support now at the Nou Camp as Barcelona look to shuffle the ball upfield. What a first 15 and a half minutes. 2-2 on aggregates, and you get the sense that we haven't even really begun to see the start of the drama just yet, Dean Ashton.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's just a slugfest right now. One punch after another. Brilliant break from Newcastle. It's exactly what they would have hoped for. Poor defending from Barcelona. Trying to keep that high line, not working, and then not picking up Newcastle players as that ball was played in from Hall. Such an outstanding cross that was.
And so much football still to be played tonight. Sandro Tonali trying to burst through the middle for Newcastle. The ball is on the halfway line, headed on by Bernal of Barcelona. Lewandowski is felled by Joe Linton on the halfway line. Hansi Flick out of his technical area to get to the loose ball, and it's a free kick to Barcelona. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Well, there's a slight vulnerability about this Barcelona team defensively. It's not vintage Barcelona, though they are 4 points clear of Real Madrid in the title race, and they have a vintage player in Yamal racing away from Joel Linton, hacked down from behind. That'll be a yellow card. Had to be for Joel Linton. Probably a good foul in the event, because Yamal, if he'd got beyond him, would have had a clear run at the edge of the box.
But do you trust your defence instead of taking that yellow card so early? A player like Joel Linton that likes to physically put himself about, it's going to take the edge off him, has to. Yamal was away, but not clear. Joelinton could still have got back to him the other side. Thought it was a poor decision.
What a piece on the night. 2-2 on aggregate. Rafinha standing over the free kick for Barcelona. This is a long way from goal. It's got to be a good 30-35 yards out here for Rafinha, and it's a relatively short run-up. You can't think he's going to go for goal from here, is he? Standing over the ball, dinks it high to the penalty area, free header down, and turned in by Marc Bernal! Where were Newcastle defensively there? First contact free header, and the second touch from the 18-year-old Marc Bernal on the edge of the 6-yard line to turn it home for Barcelona, and this game is rapidly developing into a Champions League classic. They're waving the flags at the Nou Camp again. Barcelona 2, Newcastle 1. Barcelona lead 3-2 on aggregate.
Well, what a moment for the teenager. But we're going to have some game if both of these teams decide to defend like this. Pathetic from Newcastle. Gerard Martin gets himself away from the flicked ball in from Rafinha. He heads it down across the 6-yard line to a free Bernal, and he's not going to miss from there. Takes his time, firm side foot, past Ramsdale. It's too easy for Barcelona and for Bernal. What a game we've got going on here at the Nou Camp.
Well, you'd have to say that Arsenal aside, the defending from the English sides in the Champions League at this stage of the contest has been absolutely abysmal throughout.
Absolute basic defending principles. How can a ball in from a set play have a man that's got a free header to head it across to his teammate who's free? But then again, Barcelona aren't exactly showing fantastic organisation as Newcastle were nearly in.
Well, they're defending so high up the field, aren't they, Barcelona? And that is a risk with the pace that Newcastle United have got in behind. But Newcastle and Eddie Howe will be oh so frustrated that they were barely level for 3 minutes. Barcelona 2, Newcastle 1. 3-2, the Spanish club lead on aggregate. But now the goal scorer looking for Lewandowski. Very tenacious from Ramsey outside the centre circle to half win it back with a loose ball retrieved by João Cancelo. The former Manchester City man runs into Ramsey with that long-sleeved black and white shirt. Ramsey again midway inside his own half, pops it back to Chow. Still a breathless pace to the game. I can't believe we've only had 20 minutes. Oh, Dan Burn has lost it nearly to Lewandowski, helped out by Tonali. He's got to smuggle it behind, and he does, but Newcastle have got to be so much better than that in the defensive third.
Yeah, discombobulated, aren't you, at this stage so early? When you give away goals like that. Dan Burn there, poor touch, no one to play to. Tonali rescues him but has to put it out for a corner. It's just been the game so far. It's been incredible.
Well, Barcelona are making a change 21 minutes in. Eric Garcia is coming off, and Araujo, who started the first leg at St James's, is going to come on, and you can only assume that that is injury related for it to be taking place this early in the game.
It's hard to tell. Eric Garcia's movement, facial expressions, he just looks gutted. I'm not too sure it is an injury, although he has gone straight down the tunnel. Maybe it is.
Well, it's interesting that the Newcastle goal did come down Eric Garcia's side. So the other former Manchester City man in the Barcelona lineup is taken off, and Araujo comes on and immediately takes the captain's armband. It's a Barcelona corner on the near side of the field. This is Talk Sport, live in the Champions League for you. Floodlights on at the Nou Camp and the skies darkening overhead all the time. Barcelona 3-2 up on aggregate. What a start to the second leg that we've had. Rafinha's delivery, fisted to the near post, headed wide. Last touch was off Chow, who went for it with Rafinha.
Might have been some first touch, wouldn't it?
Araujo rather, yes.
Araujo just getting ahead of Thiaw there, heading it, I think, into the chest or the face of Thiaw, otherwise would have caused Ramsdale some problems.
Rafinha ready to take another corner, one arm up into the air. Here's the delivery into that near post again, and knocked behind by Chow once more. And Newcastle's Champions League hopes are really on the ropes here in Barcelona. They can't afford to concede again, but there look to be quite a few holes in this Newcastle back line tonight. Rafinha delivers once more, and again Araujo got there ahead of his marker, and this time glanced it into the side netting.
You don't like to see that, do you, in terms of defensively? Come on. 3 of the same deliveries from Rafinha. 2 of them have been glanced on by Araujo. Not good enough defensively so far, Newcastle.
Barcelona 2, Newcastle 1 in the Champions League, live on Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk. The ball is at the Barcelona end of the field, headed away by Cancelo, back in by Tonali. And cleared on the volley by Pedri. Lamine Yamal retrieves possession, glides forward with the ball at his feet, and it seems to stick to his feet like glue. There's a reason why he's wearing number 10. It feels as though the shirt can only be possessed by a certain type of Barcelona player. And we know exactly who has worn that with such grace and achievement in the past. Was that a foul on Pedri by Ramsey? Arms outstretched, looking across to the referee. Barcelona have possession anyway. It's a throw on the far side.
I think there's got to be some composure still from the Newcastle players. They've already shown that they can counter-attack with potency. There just needs to be a bit more calmness in the way that they're defending.
Ramsdale smashes the ball upfield. It'll be headed away by Araujo, collides with his own teammate Kubasi, who immediately goes to ground. And the referee, spotting a potential head injury, Francois Letexier, is going to signal that the two physios can take to the field. So finally, really, for the first time in the game, halfway through the first half, we have a break in play.
Yeah. Pau, Kabasi there, Araujo, total mix-up. Araujo heads it. Kabasi doesn't know he's there. There's zero communication between the two. Araujo heads his teammate, which is why the referee had to stop the game. There's just an absolute edge to the game for both teams. You don't trust either defence at the moment to do the basics, and that's why we love it.
There's so much jeopardy at this stage, the knockout stage of the Champions League. Such a formidable and storied competition. Newcastle tonight aim to reach the quarter-finals for the very first time, but they're behind on the night and behind on aggregate. Kubasi's gone off the field and Barcelona restart the game. Bernal, whose goal separates the two teams, goes back to Johan Garcia. His clearance isn't very good, headed forward by Chow, floated past down the right by Trippier, hooked away up into the sky by Gerard Martin, and Fermin Lopez can't keep it in play. It's a throw to Newcastle United. Trippier will take this one. 25 minutes gone, level with the edge of the penalty area, short and square to Joel Linton. Joel Linton trying to hold it up, rolls it back, shepherds it back to Chow. And now here is Byrne standing inside the centre circle. Kubasi has come back on now for Barcelona. Hansi Flick issuing instructions on the near side of the field. Over the top by Harvey Barnes. Out comes Juan Garcia. Clatters the ball up into the air, the goalkeeper. It'll be one in the air by Joel Linton, only as far as Pedri, who scoops the ball over the halfway line. Rafinha's got the pace to try and chase it down, but Chow had a massive head start. And back he goes to Aaron Ramsdale. Still Newcastle lacking a little bit of composure as they try and play the ball out of the back.
Yeah, it's just, look, it's hard to get some control in the game because of the intensity of it. It's incredible. Barcelona out of possession have been excellent as well.
Well, there's a Newcastle player down. It's Trippier. And again, the referee sees fit to come across and stop the game. There was a very deliberate delay to the restart by João Cancelo. Barged into Trippier as he placed the ball down to take a free kick. And, well, some referees would book him for that. Letexier decides not to.
He should have done, though. Totally deliberate from Cancelo on Kieran Trippier as he went to put the ball down. Surprised he's got away with that.
Well, this has been, Dean Ashton, an absolutely mesmeric first 27 minutes.
It's been terrific, hasn't it? Just looking at that matchup, Yamal and Hall. Yamal doesn't want to defend. He certainly doesn't. Hall a couple of times, especially with the goal was away from him. He doesn't want to track.
And Hall has won it back hard the pitch here for Newcastle, nudging it on to Barnes. Angle is tight, Barnes across goal, and Elanga's there again! It's 2-2! Anthony Elanga! What a night to potentially write his name into the Newcastle history books. He's on a hat-trick in the Nou Camp. Then to tap it home at the back post. It was Yamal's initial mistake. He gave it away. And Newcastle, courageous like lions, have fought back to level it up again. Barcelona 2, Newcastle 2, 3 apiece on aggregate.
Newcastle pounce again. Jamal who gives the ball away, and he doesn't want to do the defensive work. He doesn't track. Hall, who plays it into Harvey Barnes. He runs into the penalty area like a centre forward. Yamal doesn't track him, and as it misses Hall, who's there? This doesn't take technical ability. You don't have to be a genius to get into those positions. Just run into an area. Elanga does it perfectly, gets his rewards, taps in for his second at the Nou Camp. Another response by Newcastle.
Well, Newcastle can win this because of the way that Barcelona are defending. Surely they'll be buoyed by that goal. Level on aggregate at 3 apiece. An extraordinary first half an hour. Live on Talk Sport at the Nou Camp. Barca have a player down. Cross by Elanga. Gordon has tucked it wide at the near post, and the Barcelona fans and Hansi Flick are furious because they think there was a head injury in the build-up and that the referee should have stopped the game.
Yeah, possibly. Newcastle, though, carried on. It was Joe Linton that just put his arm across Pedri. Yes, he catches him. It's all a very natural movement. He was too strong in the end. The referee allowed play to continue. Newcastle down the right, Elanga, excellent, brilliant ball in. It was just awkwardly spinning and bouncing for Gordon, who was ahead of the near post, trying to flick it with the inside of his foot back across, and just didn't quite get the contact and put it wide.
Well, I must say that we had a little shot on our monitor there of the Newcastle United support, who are loving every moment, including our very own Ollie Klink. I've spotted him amongst the Newcastle fans. And no doubt, at once enjoying what he's seeing, and at the same time absolutely terrified. It's 2-2 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate. This is TalkSport, home of the Champions League. The Tsunami on tour, and they're making life difficult for Barcelona here. Goalkeeper Johan Garcia only just gets it away to the right back position. Forward by Araujo towards the halfway line. Bird knocks it long, back downfield. Barnes could be in on the left-hand side again, held up by Araujo this time. Back he goes to Hall, two in the middle for Newcastle. Elanga on a hat-trick, remember. Here is Joel Linton. Joel Linton turning midway inside Barcelona territory, nudging it back now to Chow. Forward to Ramsey, tucks it wide to the right-hand side. Kieran Trippier looks up. Barcelona, to me, Dean, I don't know about you, but they look like they've got plenty of holes in their back line as well.
It's incredible. Whatever computer settings they've got it on, they just need to keep it the same.
Don't change it.
It's incredible. Both teams look so open defensively, yet so dangerous in attack.
And what's next? The biggest drama of the night is still to come, of course. 2-2 on the night in the second leg, 3-3 on aggregate. Barcelona nearly played themselves into trouble there. Goalkeeper Garcia, all in bright orange, finds Kubasi, long ball, raking pass down the middle, spins off the head of Byrne under the challenge of Lewandowski. Good composure by Chow to hold on to possession ahead of Lewandowski and Rafinha. Now Ramsey breaking between the lines. Anthony Elanga is clear on a hat-trick, square to Anthony Gordon. What a save by Garcia! Well, the flag eventually does go up, but both Gordon and Garcia were not to know it. And it's a magnificent stop from the goalkeeper, offside against Elanga in the build-up.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty obvious actually that Elanga was offside in that move. Of course, it was allowed to carry on. Gordon with a poor miss, hitting the goalkeeper in the chest when totally free. But Elanga was clearly offside and doesn't need to be with how quick he is.
Well, where next in this extraordinary tie? Fouled by Byrne on Lewandowski, who's gone down making something extra of it because it was right in front of the referee. Byrne lunged in. Yes, he didn't get the ball. It's a foul, but nothing more than that.
No, it was a physical challenge, though, wasn't it, from Byrne? Made sure he did it higher up the pitch as well. But, look, physically, I'm not sure how this game can continue at the speed in which it's being played.
2-2 on the night. Barcelona 3, Newcastle 3 on aggregate here live on TalkSport. Newcastle won it back on the halfway line with Joel Linton. And he's rolled the ball out to the left, but behind Harvey Barnes and out of play for a throw to Barcelona in the right-back area. Newcastle's next game, just the Tyne-Wear derby, live on TalkSport on Sunday. The same day we'll bring you the League Cup final. Fermin Lopez has found a gap, lots of space to move into. He's rolled it wide left to the far side, and Cancelo infield to Rafinha, whose layoff is a poor one, retrieved by Elanga. Now Joel Linton, the number 7, Tonali to Elanga, just shy of the halfway line. Good football again by Newcastle. Harvey Barnes crosses halfway, looks for Elanga again. Elanga plays it infield, gets it back, looks for Lewis Hall. Brilliant move this, corner of the penalty area. Hall on the turn, what a back heel. Elanga teases it back. What a move for Newcastle, cleared away in the nick of time by Pedri of all people.
I mean, that was just stunning football from Newcastle. It really was. The interchange from Elanga to Harvey Barnes twice was brilliant. And then Lewis Hall with Yamal just looking on. as Hall causes problems again in the combination. Back heel to Elanga. Cross that would have found Anthony Gordon, if not for Araujo.
11 minutes of the first half to go. This is unmissable. Live on Talk Sport with Liverpool against Galatasaray to come at 8 o'clock. Tottenham against Atletico Madrid on Talk Sport 2. Don't forget Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent live on Drive on our YouTube channel right now until 7 o'clock. They are taking your calls as well. 03717 223344. That's the number to call the sports bar later from 10. Free kick to Newcastle taken short. Delivery in by Harvey Barnes, and the goalkeeper gets there just. But Byrne was not far away from beating him to it. And Garcia is cleared away. And now Cancelo on the break, beaten to it by Sandro Tonali, who sweeps the ball into touch.
Yeah, no waiting around, was there from Juan Garcia. Bowling it out to Rafinha on the break. Cancelo bursting beyond Tonali. He gets through some work, doesn't he, that boy?
He certainly does. He is a top midfield player. Reports, certainly over the winter transfer window, that he might be open to a move back to Italy. We'll see what happens with his future over the summer, but a class act. Tonali. 2-2, 3-3 on aggregate. Newcastle have never been as far as the quarter-finals of the European Cup, Champions League. Barcelona 5 times competition winners. Foul on Lamine Yamal by Hall on this near side. Hall, so far, long way still to go. In fact, it was a foul by Barnes. Hall has been excellent in the game. Forward by Barcelona. Fermin Lopez trying to push it through the middle. Good interception by Byrne. Newcastle have got to keep their concentration every moment of the game, every second that the ball is in play. Trippier from the right-back area. High ball over the top. Elanga is chasing it. Elanga will get there. Gordon in the middle. Anthony Gordon beaten to it. Comes out towards Barnes and smuggled away. Only as far as Joel Linton. Well won back by Ramsey. Ramsey with his back to goal. Edge of the D. Out wide to Trippier. Forward to Elanga. Elanga looks up from the corner flag. Barcelona's defensive approach is bizarre given Newcastle's pace. Every ball over the top has the back line turning because they're so high up the field, and now they counter-attack Barcelona to the midway point of their own half, and it's shuffled to the right back, Araujo, who suddenly slows it down to walking pace.
As you said, so easy. Just a simple ball, not difficult for Kieran Trippier, no pressure on him. High line for Barcelona. He knows he just needs to clip it over the top with a bit of backspin, and Elanga will get there first, as he did. Very close to a stunning ball across for Gordon, just held up. Every time one of the teams relinquishes possession, the other team look like they're going to go and score.
And Newcastle have won it back on the halfway line. Hall was ready to dart forward. Newcastle a little more conservative as they played it back to Ramsey. Now Trippier does cross the halfway line, out on the right-hand side. Early ball down the inside right. Great way to pass. Down goes Elanga. It's not a penalty. Referee Letexier says no. But Elanga looked like he was caught right on the edge of the box. VAR will check this. No question.
I mean, my initial thought was it's a penalty. But he pulls his shoulder back. Anthony Elanga gets ahead. Cancelo yanks on his shoulder. It's inside the penalty area. Not sure what Cancelo is thinking. It's definite pullback on Elanga. I'd be amazed if this isn't a penalty.
Bram van Driesche is the VAR from Belgium. Letexier, no doubt in communication. Cancelo doesn't get anywhere near the ball. He tugs him back. I don't think there's a tangle of legs or feet in that motion. Elanga had got the run on at Cancelo, and they're not going to give a penalty. It's a throw to Newcastle.
I'm amazed because he gets ahead of Cancelo. There's a clear pullback on the shoulder. If they say it was minimal contact, that's nonsense. He's pulled him back. For me, it was a penalty. Newcastle can feel agreed with that.
Was certainly meaningful contact. Long throw into the area by Trippier. Flick on by Byrne. Cleared away by Fermin Lopez. Now Hall in the centre circle. Belts it back upfield on the diagonal. It's a sweeping pass, but Trippier can't get on the end of it. We've got 6 minutes of a thrilling first half to go here at the Nou Camp live on TalkSport. Barcelona 2, Newcastle 2, and it's 3 apiece on aggregate. We'll be at Anfield later for Liverpool against Galatasaray. Tottenham with a much harder comeback trail in front of them. 3 goals down on aggregate against Atletico Madrid. That'll be on TalkSport 2. Chow for Newcastle, risky, he's giving it away in a very dangerous area. The chance is on here for Barcelona. Rafinha, Lewandowski, what a tackle! Dan Burn, Lewandowski can't get to the rebound. Heroic from Dan Burn.
A mountain of a man, Dan Burn, but so clever too. Because it's a big mistake by Thiaw. He doesn't know where to go, he turns back, he's caught, doesn't really know what to do with it. Gives it to Rafinha, who finds Lewandowski, and you think he's going to score. Dan Burn is there with an unbelievable block. But it was that intelligence just to keep the gap between him and Lewandowski.
Barcelona corner, Ramsdale stays on his line, and the free kick is given to Newcastle United.
In that moment, Dan Burn all of a sudden 2v1. What do? Do you go to the ball? Do you go to Lewandowski? He was perfect, right in the middle, saying to Rafinha, either try and go alone on your right foot or come at me and then commit me. It was ideal defending. Make them make a decision, and when he did, he then stepped across and made the block from Lewandowski. That's all he could do in that moment, Dan Burn. It's the only thing he could do was to delay. Brilliant defending.
Monumental from Dan Burn, who in a different world would have been watching on, no doubt, in the stands, the former season ticket holder at Newcastle United. 2-2 it remains, 3-3 on aggregate. Live on TalkSport, in one of the most exciting halves of football that I've seen all season, maybe the most exciting. And heroic from Burn in the tackle, but a heroic performance from Newcastle to come from behind twice so far, Dean. Oh, and they've given it away, have they? No, Barcelona, they get it back to goalkeeper Johan Garcia, who clears upfield, header on by Tonali, header away by Araujo, back to Tonali, middle of the Barcelona half, loses out to Fermin Lopez, who whips it off his toes.
Well, it's almost as if both teams have just said, we'll have a footballing tear-up, take it back to the streets, no rules, no defending. It's been so much fun to watch. But there's no rhyme or reason to it at the moment. Tactically, no point in trying to look at that. There isn't any. It's just a free-for-all.
Organised chaos at its very best. Here is Araujo with the dyed blonde hair on the halfway line. He rolls it square to Pedri. Number 8 in between the two centre-halves. Pedri's forward ball. Lewandowski, 25 yards out. Right-footed shot, straight at Ramsdale. Can't have the space to turn there, Lewandowski.
No, it's excellent, isn't it? And the Polish striker, he just didn't quite get it out of his feet. We know how dangerous he can be. Difficult to dig that out from underneath you. He did well. Brought straight at Ramsdale.
Nearly got another chance there. Good interception on the slide by Tonali to scoop the ball away for Newcastle, who give it away again. Fermin Lopez on the edge of the penalty area. Tripped by Tonali, was he? Referee says no. Looked like a foul. Tonali gets away with it. Scampers forward in possession on the counter. Early ball out to the left, and Harvey Barnes, it crosses the halfway line. Lewis Hall racing forward in support. Barnes going on the outside. Hall making an underlapping run. Here he is in his stride into the area, cuts it across, and it's gathered by Garcia. And Hall has ended up flat on his face off the field. And now Barcelona, with this remarkable breakneck pace, try to get the counter-attack going. Yamal has actually slowed it down for once. Square to Pedri on halfway. 2 minutes of the first half to go. Barcelona 3, Newcastle 3 on aggregate.
I mean, how good has Lewis Hall been? He has been magnificent. 3 lungs at the moment, the amount of running he's doing. Yamal there having to try and track. Again, poor defending, allowing him to get through.
Oh, and there's poor defending, allowing Cancelo to cross in here. Burns stabs it away. Hall gets the second ball as he caught by Fermin Lopez. The referee says no, and Barnes has won it back on the edge of the Newcastle penalty area. Looking for Gordon. Barnes hacked down. Gordon hacked down. That'll be a yellow card out of the pocket of the referee here, I think, for Kubasi. And a free kick to Newcastle United. It is Kubasi who is booked.
I mean, what is going on? I mean, Cancelo bursting through, Poor defending from Newcastle. Dan Burn desperately again with a block from the cross. It's then poor from Fermin Lopez, and then Harvey Barnes goes on a break into Gordon, who gets hacked down. It is non-stop.
If you love your attacking football in the Champions League, this is must listen.
It's unbelievable.
Barcelona 2, Newcastle 2. We hope the second half is just as good, but you would think that Newcastle would prefer a slightly slower pace of the game, albeit they do look such a threat on the counter.
And that's the dilemma, isn't it? With the way the game's panning out, the chaos that's currently around the Nou Camp, it does suit them because it leaves gaps for them to break forwards.
Well, Lewis Hall is starring on the biggest stage tonight.
Well, that's been it. Obviously, it's a key battle, of course, because of Yamal. But Lewis Hall, in that attack alone, bursting forward, you can see Yamal doesn't want to have to do the defensive work, but he gets himself back to help Araujo, but then doesn't really know what position to place himself. Hall plays it into Barnes, he just gets the return off the back of Yamal, he's through, he crosses, and then Yamal just stands there completely free, bowled out to him, and he can attack.
Into 3 minutes of added time, Newcastle blast the ball long into the Barcelona penalty area, headed on by Byrne, only half away, could drop for Joel Linton, cleared upfield. Newcastle had Tonali off the pitch for a moment there, but he's very quickly back on. Ramsdale all in sky blue, again smashes it out towards the left wing position, header away by Araujo, good flick by Yamal, and he gets it back from Fermin Lopez, skips beyond Joel Linton, darts infield, and this time he's left Hall trailing in his wake. Early ball through the middle, great control, Lewandowski onto Rafinha, good save, Lewandowski, and over the top by Yamal. What a miss! And maybe did the goalkeeper get something on it? He certainly turned away Rafinha's effort, and somehow Yamal cannot convert.
Oh, from the sublime to the ridiculous from Yamal. Unbelievable work out on the right-hand side to get away. Brilliant ball in towards Lewandowski, who takes the most magnificent first touch and pass in one move to Rafinha. You expect a great strike from him on the left-hand side, and he does across Ramsdale. He makes a super save down to his left, spills it slightly, falls to Yamal, who is 6 yards out along the floor. He's just going to poke it in and stabs it up and over with his right foot. What a miss.
A good omen for Newcastle? Who knows? There's a lot of football still to be played.
I know why now. Dan Burn was in the way. That's why he had to chip it over him.
Well, as you say, he is a man for the big occasion. Scored in the League Cup final against Liverpool last season, Dan Burn. The whole Newcastle side have produced a performance for the big occasion so far. 2 of the 3 added minutes in the first half have been played. Barcelona 2, Newcastle 2 on the night. 3-3 on aggregate, fouled by Barnes on the halfway line on Yamal, who's had a very mixed first half, you'd say. Involved in the first goal with that very dynamic run from a central position, and of course that glaring miss just a few seconds ago. These are the kind of nights where you just need to stick with Talk Sport and let the drama unfold in front of you. Kubasi on the halfway line for Barcelona. Pedri inside the centre circle, glides away from Ramsey, out to the right, Araujo, Eddie Howe, and Jason Tindall in conversation on the near side of the field. Yana with a brilliant ball down the inside right, Fermin Lopez, oh, that looked like a foul in the area on Rafinha. Kieran Trippier was there, the referee says that it's not a penalty. Did Trippier have hold of Rafinha, who looked poised to tap it in?
Well, you've got to expect there's some contact, because why else would he stop Rafinha? I think he has got the wrong side of Kieran Trippier, who pulls his arm back. This has to be a penalty, but similar to down the other end with Anthony Elanga, will they deem it enough contact? I think it's a penalty. I think he gets there first, and Trippier just pulls his arm back, which is what Rafinha is trying to say. It was outstanding from Yamal with the outside of the left foot down the side for Fermin Lopez, who plays it across. Rafinha's going to score. Trippier pulls him back. It's got to be a penalty.
Well, Newcastle will argue they should have had a penalty, of course, earlier on in the half.
They should have.
But the referee here is going to go and have a look at his pitch side monitor, and of course Trippier tugging Rafinha back right in front of goal. There's also the threat of a potential red card, you would have to think.
Absolutely. No genuine attempt to play the ball, that's for sure, from Kieran Trippier.
I mean, this has to be a penalty kick for Barcelona. Much though Newcastle, we think, should have had one earlier on in the first half. Trippier tugs back Rafinha by his arm. Rafinha's about to score, and surely there's no other decision that Le Texier can make. And is Kieran Trippier going to be in real trouble? He's booked Jason Tindall. Or is it Howe who's been booked? Certainly one of them has got the yellow card. They're standing very close to where the referee is watching this incident unfold again and again and again on the pitch side monitor right by the two dugouts. And what's going to be the decision of Francois Le Texier? It is a penalty to Barcelona, and he's reaching for his top pocket. It's a yellow for Trippier. Goodness me.
Well, it's definitely a penalty, that's for sure. That was pretty obvious. Surprised it's a yellow. Trippier will be relieved. He knew in that moment that Rafinha was ahead. He pulls him back. It was always going to be a penalty.
Well, time for Aaron Ramsdale to shine. He saved 3 penalties in the shootout in the FA Cup, you might remember, recently against Bournemouth, relatively recently anyway. And how Newcastle need their goalkeeper on this biggest of stages here. Rafinha has the ball in his hands. This is only the end of the first half. 6th minute of added time at the end of the first half on TalkSport. Barcelona 2, Newcastle 2. 3-3 the aggregate score, and Rafinha's going to give it to Lamine Yamal instead. Ramsdale taking slow steps back towards his goal line. The penalty to be taken away to the right-hand side in front of masses of Barcelona supporters, and Ramsdale doing all he can to slow down the process, tapping the edge of the post with his boot. Ramsdale retreats to his line. 2-2 the score. 3-3 on aggregate. The big goalkeeper can maybe bail out Newcastle here. Yamal, short runner. Here he goes, left-footed, and he beats Ramsdale, who went the right way but couldn't keep it out. And at the end of one of the most remarkable halves of football we've seen all season, it's Barcelona who are going to have the advantage. Yamal just gets it beyond the goalkeeper. Barcelona 3, Newcastle 2, and it's 4-3 Barcelona on aggregate.
Well, he sits on the hoardings, taking in the applause around the Nou Camp, because he's found the back of the net, and that is all that matters with a penalty. But it is so close for Aaron Ramsdale. He guesses the right way, he springs across to his left, he gets fingertips to it, but it's so accurate from Yamal that it still finds the back of the net. What an unbelievable ending to a crazy first half.
Ramsdale guessed right, and he got fingers to it, but he couldn't prevent the ball from nestling into the far corner. Yamal has equalled Kylian Mbappe's record for the most Champions League goals scored before turning 19. That is 10 Champions League goals for the young star, not just of the future, but of course very much of the present. And doesn't he know it as he celebrates in front of the Barcelona fans? And that is half-time. A first half that really had to be seen or heard to be believed. Twice Newcastle managed to get themselves level after Barcelona had gone in front. Rafinha with the early goal, equalised by Elanga. Bernal replied almost immediately. Elanga got his second to make it 2-2. Then Newcastle should have had a penalty, but the referee said no foul by Cancelo on Elanga before Barcelona won a penalty of their own. Trippier arguably lucky to stay on the field. Yamal converted it just. And who knows what is to come in the second half after this most extraordinary first at the Nou Camp at the break. Barcelona 3, Newcastle United 2. Barcelona lead 4-3 on aggregate.
Stunning stuff. I actually feel emotional witnessing that. Just brilliant football all round, end to end, defending optional, goals galore, and it's still a tie that is really in the balance. And Dean Ashton, I just don't really know where to start. Actually, I will start at the start, because Barcelona went 1-0 up after 5 minutes. In the first 2.5 minutes of the game, Newcastle had a corner, a free kick in a dangerous area, and a shot on target. That was in the first 2.5 minutes. And then Barcelona score, and it was literally non-stop after that. I don't know how those players have done it, Dean.
I don't, honestly. I've never seen, I think, a half of football that hasn't stopped as much as that. Has had so much action at both ends and lack of defending. It has been brilliant to watch, thrilling. But I tell you what, all those players will go in, they'll slump back into their seats in the dressing room, because that has just been the most incredible, intensifying first half I've ever seen. And it's hard to really, try and put it into context in terms of a tactical analysis. There isn't any. It has just been a sort of throwback free-for-all.
Well, I was going to go into the tactical analysis, but now I won't. And in fact, I'm not going to. And the reason is, you're right, it is a free-for-all. There almost are no tactics to it. And actually, I'm wondering how Eddie Howe will feel about that. In that dressing room, is he going to be fuming that the defending, albeit with a couple of... Dan Burns' moment where he stops Lewandowski is fantastic. There's been some little moments of good defending, but generally the defending from both sides has been poor. So I wonder if the coaches are looking at it as excited and thrilled by it as we are, because the defending just hasn't been there. They must be tearing their hair out, these guys.
Yes, I think the gaps are there on the counter-attack. There's just not been a coordinated defensive organisation, and that surprised me. They've kind of been drawn into the tennis-like game that it's been.
Anthony Elanga, I was going to question you pre-match. We ran out of time, saying, is he a little bit lucky to be in the starting lineup? What I love about it is, yes, he's got his name on the score sheet a couple of times. He's on a hat-trick. What I love about it is he's burst into the box. He's got into a position where he can score. He's not hung outside the box and missed his opportunity. He's been alert, alive, he's been ready, and he's finished those chances. I think that's brilliant from him. He just needs to keep it up.
Yes, he does. Just keep using that pace and intelligence with his running. But he looks like a player that knows he's been given a real chance to start this game and wants to make the most of it. And he took his first goal really well. But you're right, I get frustrated with wide players now who don't burst to the back post for those tap-ins. And it's about desire to run into those positions, and he's got his reward because of it, and he's looked a threat every single time Newcastle have gone down his side.
It's been sensational stuff, and when Lamine Yamal missed that sitter, I was going to say, well, he's no Max Dowman, and then he scores a penalty. But I tell you what, Aaron Ramsdale was so close to keeping that out. Fingertips to it, but it ended up in the back of the net. It's been a first half with everything live on TalkSport. It's even had Dean Ashton in commentary using the word discombobulated. Newcastle 3-2 down there, 4-3 down on aggregate. Just can't wait for the second half, live on TalkSport.
Champions League live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Mr. Q. At Mr. Q, we tell it how it is. When players win, they love Q. Like a Portuguese prima donna loves polishing a statue of himself. But when players lose, they hate Q. Like a last-minute VAR controversy. Mr. Q, the casino you love to hate. And you'll love 100 free spins on Big Bass Splash with your first deposit. Play at mrq.com or on the app. UK 18 plus residents only. Minimum £10 first deposit. 10p per spin. Free spins must be used within 48 hours of depositing. All winnings paid in cash. T's and C's apply. Play safely.
It's even bigger than that full house decorating job you've got on. Or that 30-foot high ceiling you've got to paint. It's the Johnston's Decorating Centre Big Sale event with huge savings and multi-buy deals like Cover Plus Vinyl Matte, 10-litre Brilliant White or Magnolia, any two for £70. And don't forget to ask what you get free when you buy 3 on selected lines. So get to your local Johnston's Decorating Centre now or visit johnstonsdc.com. T's and C's apply. Prices exclude VAT at 20%.
I need a smoke. Fancy one, Dave? Dave, why is lightning shooting out of your phone?
Introducing the free NHS Quit Smoking app. From craving support to a savings predictor, the power to quit is in your hands.
A smoke, you say? No thanks, Pete. I've saved 250 quid this month. Fair play.
Download the free NHS Quit Smoking app today.
On average, Rift Tax Refunds get their customers $3,000 back. Search Rift Tax Refunds today.
At Betfair, we're built for football's dramatic run-in. From European knockout rounds to the league's biggest six-pointers, where promotion, relegation and title issues can swing on a dodgy VAR call. Can you predict the twists to come? Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Accas or Bet Builders on football this week. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in required. Free bet valid for 7 days. Minimum 3 legs at 1.5 odds or higher to qualify. T's and C's apply. 18+. Gamblerware.org.
With a Travis Perkins trade account, you open the door to big trade deals every single month. And we've gone big on landscaping. Right through March, get a 1 metre length of Acco Hex Drain channel drain for only £9.75 each. Join the club and get this and other big landscaping trade deals this March with your trade account. Travis Perkins, doing what matters for the trade. All prices exclude VAT at 20%.
Listen up, football fans. BetMGM brings Vegas entertainment to the biggest games and the biggest names. Because when it comes to betting on football, we're in a league of our own, baby. Offers? Oh, you know we got offers. Like bet £10 and get £40 in free bets. BetMGM. It's showtime. New customers only. Wagering requirements and conditions apply. 18+. Please gamble responsibly.
Initiate adrenaline pumps. Kickoff live on Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport, where we are bringing you a sensational game of football. Truly magnificent stuff it is. Barcelona 3, Newcastle 2, 4-3 on aggregate to Barcelona. Brilliant stuff. We've got 2 more Champions League games coming up on the TalkSport network, and the first on TalkSport 2 is here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Spurs have got some work to do. They're 5-2 down against Atletico Madrid, and we've got the team news. Ian Danta.
Yeah, and they've switched Adrian back to a 5-man defence after the bout 4 that Igor Tudor deployed at Liverpool at Anfield on Sunday that got them Igor Tudor's first point. Richarlison, though, is suspended from European action tonight for too many yellow cards. So Randal Kolo Muani comes in up front. Simons is also in. Van de Ven and Romero return at the back. So here's how Spurs line up. Vicario in goal. Porro, Romero, Dragusin, Van de Ven and Spence in a back 5. And then so Musso in goal. Molina, Lenormand, Hanko and Ruggieri in a back 4. Simeone, the manager's son, Llorente, Cardoso and Ademola Lookman wants of Charlton and Fulham and others behind Antoine Griezmann and Julian Alvarez. Those are your teams for our game at 8 o'clock here on TalkSport 2, Adrian.
Ian, thanks very much. Spurs back 5 then. No Jan Oblak in goal for Atletico Madrid. You're listening to the Champions League live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. We'll get the team news from Anfield when it's in for Liverpool Galatasaray, which is coming up at 8 live on TalkSport. Let's get the team news from the One Championship game tonight. Southampton take on Norwich at St Mary's. Ian Abrahams.
And Southampton with a win will move into the playoffs and above Wrexham, who were beaten last night at Watford. A win for Norwich put them 6 points off the playoffs and arguably in with a chance still of making it, considering the form that they are in. Both these sides are in stellar form. Saints make one change from their weekend win at leaders Coventry. Edozie in for Bragg in midfield. Norwich make 4 changes to the side that comfortably beat Preston at the weekend. Darling, Crisin, Matson and Gibbs drop out. In come McConville, Fisher, Samfield and Magoma just behind Chris Varden up front. It's Southampton against Norwich. We start here at 7:45.
Going to take you back to the Nou Camp shortly for the second half of Barcelona-Newcastle. Barcelona 4-3 up on aggregate. That game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Quick focus on the game at Anfield, though. Liverpool against Galatasaray. Liverpool 1 down. Here's Jim Proudfoot.
Well, Arne Slot made a host of changes for the Spurs game at the weekend. He's reversed most of them tonight as he names 10 of the 11 that lost the first leg in Istanbul last week, with Frimpong replacing Gomez in that team. All told, 4 changes to Sunday's side. Canate back at centre-half. Kirkes preferred to Robertson at left-back.
Salah in for Ungamoa, with Vert switching to the left and Szoboszlai returning at 10, and Ekitike is in for Gakpo up front. Galatasaray without the former Spurs centre-half Davison Sanchez, who's suspended. So the Reds have Alisson in goal, Frimpong, Canade, Van Dijk and Kirkes, Gravenberch and McAllister, Salah, Szoboszlai and Wirtz, and Ekitike up front. And we kick off at 8 live on TalkSport.
And alongside Jim is the former England captain Stuart Pearce, and your game's got a lot to live up to. I know you've watched the first half for Newcastle. What a game. It's been all action, and we're just hoping for more of the same at 8 o'clock at your place.
Well, if it's half the game that the Newcastle game was earlier, or the first half of it, we're in for an absolute treat here. What we need is more English teams going through into the next round phase. I think Liverpool will, but obviously if you watch the game the weekend, they're going to want to make sure they've got the ability to score a goal, but they need to make sure that they're tight at the back, I think.
Slot is under pressure. Former Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy was with me at Brentford on Monday night on TalkSport. And listen to this, Stuart. He gave his thoughts on Slot's Liverpool future.
I think where the Liverpool fans are at the moment, the way they've turned, I think it would need a Champions League win, or a gallant loss in the final, or an unbelievable run in the Champions League to keep his job. I think although it's not all on him, he is making some mistakes, and he's sometimes annoying fans with his post-match interviews, etc., etc. The reality is Liverpool Football Club, after what they've spent, should be competing, should have had a better fight of the Premier League, and they should go deeper in the Champions League than they're probably going to. And I don't remember, I was trying to remember a time in my Liverpool life as a player and a fan where it got a little bit toxic and a little bit negative and someone turned it round, and I can't.
Danny Murphy there. And Stuart Pearce, what do you make of that? Does it feel like Slot has got to win these fans over again despite winning the title last season?
Well, I think there's a few question marks. Danny's quite close to it here, certainly closer than I am, but there's certainly a few question marks. What I would say, you've invested in over £100 million on a striker that hasn't kicked a ball in anger really this season, so that's been tough. And one or two players haven't invested into them, probably haven't settled in as quickly as Liverpool would have liked. Whether only a Champions League victory or a gallant loss will be enough for the fans and the owners, I'm not so sure about that. If it was me, I would need to have a look at another season. The first season brought the Premier League title. Second season, a lot of new recruits. A lot of those have took too long to settle in. For me, I would want to have a look at next season and how it starts then.
Stuart, we'll rejoin you a bit later at Anfield. Liverpool Galatasaray coming up on TalkSport at 8. Liverpool 1 down from the first leg. The Spurs Atletico Madrid game is live on TalkSport 2 at 8 o'clock. We're waiting for the teams to come out at the Nou Camp. Barcelona against Newcastle. Quick one with Dean Ashton on whether Trippier should have been sent off when giving away the penalty. He made no attempt for the ball, did he?
No, I was amazed that he wasn't sent off. No genuine attempt to play the ball, just to pull Rafinha's arm. So I was surprised. I think, again, Barcelona could question that, I'm sure, depending on the result. I just hope the referee was thinking, I cannot send someone off in this game. This is too much fun.
Yeah, it was almost like he was reluctant to give the penalty as well. He certainly was reluctant to give Elanga a penalty when Cancelo pulled him back. I actually thought he went down a little bit too easy, and that's the element of it that made the referee's mind up.
Did you? Yeah, I mean, I felt as if he was ahead of Cancelo. Cancelo had a bit of panic just to pull him back. So I think maybe because it was left open to some interpretation, that's why the referee hasn't given it. For me, it was a penalty.
Well, it's all about opinions, mate, and usually I'm right. But we'll see how it goes. Listen, first half fantastic, second half to come right now, live on TalkSport. A football tear-up is how Dean described it. Whatever it is, we love it. Live on TalkSport. Barcelona 3, Newcastle 2 on the night, 4-3 on aggregate. Second half right now with Dean Ashton and Joe Shannon.
And what has it got in store? The two sides back out onto the field of play, and Newcastle have made a half-time change. And Trippier has not reappeared for the second half on a yellow card, and Tino Livramento has come on a straight swap at right back, D.
I think says it all from Eddie Howe in terms of how lucky Trippier was to stay on the pitch, but also in that one moment where Rafinha got ahead of Trippier, he just didn't have the pace to keep with him. Livramento will.
Well, a first half that will live long in the memory, and still the prospect of history in the Champions League for Newcastle United tonight. They are 3-2 down on the night, 4-3 behind on aggregate as the second half begins, but hope, still hope for Newcastle. Barcelona in their familiar dark red and blue, playing from right to left in the second half, and Newcastle in the black and white striped shirts, white shorts and white socks, playing from left to right. So Newcastle, Ramsdale in goal, now Livramento at right back, Chow, Byrne and Hall, Ramsey, Tonali and Joel Linton, Elanga and Barnes either side of Gordon up front. And for Barcelona, Joan Garcia is the goalkeeper, Araujo, Kubasi, Martin and Cancelo, Bernal and Pedri, Yamal, Fermin Lopez and Rafinha behind Lewandowski up front. Among the Barcelona substitutes that remain, Ferran Torres and Marcus Rashford. The Newcastle bench, Pope, Ruddy and Harris the goalkeepers, Neve, Osula, Alex Murphy, Wisser, Jacob Murphy, Voltemada, Willock and Botman. The ball is on the halfway line and Barcelona on the attack straight away. On that far side of the field, then it's fed infield to Pedri. Rafinha about 30 yards out, quick feet away from Livramento. Rafinha went to ground rather easily, I thought. Referee says get up, get on with it. Now Pedri, the number 8, with an angled ball out to the left. Fermin Lopez with an in-swinging cross, headed away by Malik Chow for Newcastle United. The next goal in the tie is an absolutely vital one for Newcastle. 4-3 behind on aggregate, Dean Ashton.
I just wonder what will have been said in there at half-time from both managers in terms of defensively has to be much better, surely, in this second half. There wasn't any in the first half. Let's be honest about it.
Caution to the wind. It could not have been more open. Are we about to see a cagier second 45?
Well, already that looks like a different Newcastle setup, just in terms of defensively. Very deep, very compact.
And effectively a 4-5-1 when they're not on the ball. 3-2 Barcelona on the night. All the goals coming in a first half that almost defied description. Lewis Hall with great footwork on the halfway line and a good early ball over the top towards Elanga, chested back by Cancelo, and a good interception by Gerard Martin to send it back to Garcia, because if he hadn't done so, might have dropped to Anthony Gordon, who was lurking behind Cancelo.
Yeah, absolutely right. But again, Lewis Hall is just outstanding, just wriggles himself out of a tight corridor away from 3 defenders and sets Newcastle away on the counter.
At 21 years of age, England's number 1 at left back, surely. And Cancelo pops the ball backwards to Martin for Barcelona, midway inside his own half the field, rolls it back to the feet of Garcia, all in orange, the goalkeeper. Barcelona playing from right to left. Pedri retrieves possession on the edge of his own penalty area. Now Pau Kubasi. Barcelona have been involved in so many Champions League classics over the years, win or lose. Here is an early ball towards Fermin Lopez down the far side, the right, 2 in the middle, Rafinha and Lewandowski. Araujo with the pullback, it's come to Rafinha via the deflection. Ramsdale saves and cleared away by Byrne. Tight angle for that shot, beaten out by the goalkeeper. Crucial that Newcastle do not concede again. Pedri. The tyres on a knife edge here for Newcastle United. Early minutes of the second half. Yamal darting infield from the right onto the left foot, back onto his right, teasing cross. Rafinha headed away by Livramento. Hook further clear by Elanga over his shoulder, only as far as Kubasi. Wide to Cancelo. Real pressure on Newcastle here. Lewandowski's in the box. He delivers. Rafinha misses his kick, and it's gathered by Ramsdale, but Newcastle could still most certainly tighten up defensively.
Yeah, they can, but it's difficult. If you're going to sit deep, of course, you're going to have those 1v1s. Yamal brilliant there, this time against Harvey Barnes to get the cross in, but earlier Rafinha got himself away, left foot, right foot. He's happy on either to strike. He struck it well from an angle. Ramsdale with another save.
And then a clearance that goes straight out of play. quite a contrast to the first half at the moment, which was so transitional, and Hansi Flick certainly warned the media of Newcastle's effect on transition. At the moment it's almost attack v defence, Barcelona having all of the possession and territory, and Newcastle clinging on in the tie. 4-3 down on aggregate, 3-2 down on the night, Newcastle United. We've got Liverpool against Galatasaray at 8 on TalkSport, Atletico against Tottenham on TalkSport 2 at the same time, as Tonali shuffles forward for Newcastle. The dark-haired Tonali out on the left-hand side, early ball in field, and now Barnes is a winning runner. Barnes to Hall, good footwork in the penalty area by Hall, but he can't play the return pass. Level with the edge of the 18-yard box. A Newcastle goal gets them level on aggregate, but they've given it away. Pedri there to win it back, the diminutive number 8 for Barcelona, and they slow the play down, very deliberately so, it would appear. Yamal in the right-back position, shepherds it back to the goalkeeper Garcia.
Yeah, there's certainly more of an air of, I think, possession for Barcelona at the start of this half. Newcastle just sitting off slightly.
Ball forward for Barcelona towards Rafinha, lovely reverse pass, and Fermin Lopez is clear. Fermin Lopez against Ramsdale, and he scores! Barcelona now have a 2-goal advantage on aggregate. Fermin Lopez standing atop the advertising hoardings to lap up the ovation, and Barcelona may well have seen off Newcastle here. What a reverse ball down the middle. Fermin Lopez onto it, Newcastle exposed defensively, and Fermin Lopez tucked it away gleefully to make it Barcelona 4, Newcastle 2, and it's 5-3 to Barcelona on aggregate.
You can't defend like that in the Champions League. You simply can't. It's too easy. Burn goes so far into midfield with Lewandowski. He doesn't need to. Lewandowski's not going to run beyond you, Dan Burn. You don't need to go that far in. He leaves a massive hole in the centre-back position. Thiago doesn't come across, and it's Fermin Lopez, who starts as like a deep-lying midfield player, spins away from Tonali and just sprints into the gap that's been left by Dan Burn. The ball in, flicked round the corner, and he's through 1v1. It can't happen at this level, but when he does, how composed is he? He waits and waits, and then at the last second, as he faces up Ramsdale, just quickly opens his body up, side foots it away from Ramsdale, right into the corner. It's a super finish. Terrible defending from Newcastle.
More dazzling attacking play from Barcelona, 5 times the European champions, and we're only 7.5 minutes into the second half, and Newcastle have now conceded 4 on the night, 5-3 down on aggregate. And here come Barcelona again out on the right with Fermin Lopez, Rafinha in the middle. Fermin Lopez is in behind here. Oh, and lunging in was Tonali, and the referee and his assistants say that it's a corner. Newcastle, I think, feel that Tonali was fouled, but Barcelona are right on top in the tie.
Absolutely. Again, it's a brilliant run from Fermin Lopez. Tonali this time stays with him, doesn't let him go, follows him all the way, gives away the corner. Just going back to the goal, does Dan Burn really need to go all the way into midfield with Lewandowski? I don't think he does. Either that is something that the manager said you have to go and follow, man v man, or Dan Burn has made the wrong decision to go that far in. It seemed really strange when Lewandowski hasn't got the pace to really run in behind, and it left such a massive gap for Fermin Lopez just to run into and be found.
Well, 3,000 Newcastle supporters watching on rather glumly in the upper tier at the moment. There might be a problem for Tonali here. He seems to have perhaps pulled a muscle lunging in to make that challenge, and it was the deftest of touches to smuggle it behind under pressure from Fermin Lopez. Newcastle have got the likes of Voltemada and Jacob Murphy warming up at the moment, but this is a real concern for Eddie Howe. Barcelona 4, Newcastle 2. If you're just joining us here on TalkSport, 5-3 on aggregate, and Newcastle are poised to make a change here, with Barcelona suddenly very much in control of the tie, though it certainly hadn't felt like that for long periods of the first half in particular. And Dean, We're just watching a replay on our monitor in the commentary position of that fourth Barcelona goal. Byrne is caught out hopelessly out of position, and Tonali can't track Fermin Lopez.
Yeah, Gerard Martin is with the ball in the centre-back position. Fermin Lopez goes towards him like he's going to make a 5 or 10 yard pass to him. He doesn't, he spins away from Tonali. He then just sprints into the gap that's been left by Dan Byrne. Tonali doesn't quite track him. Ball played in all the way through to Rafinha, which again shouldn't happen. He just reverses it round the corner and he's in 1v1.
Tonali replaced by Joe Willock. He's had to go off injured. Is it falling apart here for Newcastle? Corner from Rafinha. Lewandowski heads it in. It's all over now. Lewandowski lurking, so predatory at the back post. The 108th Champions League goal of his storied, glittering career. And Barcelona are heading to the quarter-finals of the European Cup for a 26th time. But what a nightmare for Newcastle. Just 10 minutes into the second half, they trail 5-2 on the night, 6-3 on aggregate, and that is surely the end of Newcastle's Champions League story.
A nightmare for Newcastle. The masked man, Lewandowski, wearing that to protect his face. The only thing he's worried about breaking, though, is the back of the net with the header. He gets up and above Livramento. Ramsdale, poor positioning, never gets the flight of the ball. Lewandowski's too strong for Livramento, just powers the header into the empty net to what you would expect to be too far for Newcastle to come back from now.
Well, there will be something of an inquest into the way that the Premier League clubs have defended over the course of this round of 16 in the Champions League. We mentioned that in the first half. Chelsea hammered over two legs by Paris Saint-Germain. Manchester City humbled by Real Madrid. Tottenham 5-2 down going into the second leg on TalkSport 2 tonight. And Newcastle, from a position where the tie looked very much alive, have conceded twice early in the second half, and they're 5-2 behind. 3 goals behind on aggregate. Out comes Ramsdale to the edge of the penalty area. What does Eddie Howe do now? Is there anything that he can do, Dean Ashton?
Difficult. They didn't have a ready-made replacement for Tonali in that position.
Oh, and Anthony Gordon nearly threw down the middle. In the way is the defender Kubasi, who knocks it back to Garcia. A very unconvincing volleyed clearance upfield by the goalkeeper. Willock has won it back off Pedri, snapping at his heels. Joel Linton knocks the ball out to the left-hand side. Harvey Barnes on the attack, looking for Lewis Hall. Hall into the area, cuts it back off the defender, cleared away by Araujo. Well, Newcastle probably should have made something of that.
Well, they should have done. Lewis Hall, brilliant again, not tracked. He's there again.
And delivers towards Barnes, and it's blocked by Kubasi in the penalty area. Hall seemingly with the freedom of the left wing on the far side of the field, but Newcastle facing mission impossible as we tick towards the hour mark in the Nou Camp.
Yeah, well, they have decided, Hansi Flick has decided that they will just allow Lewis Hall to go and then say, well, OK, Lamine Yamal will be free on that left-hand side to go up against Dan Byrne. But they've sat back Newcastle slightly in this second half, and they've already conceded 2 goals. Well, they may as well have just gone for it in the same way as the first half. But they're so clever. You sit off Barcelona slightly, and Rafinha, Yamal, Fermin Lopez, even Lewandowski, they will just drift into positions. They're not asked to stay in one position. They can drift and cause problems in spaces you don't want to defend in.
And indeed, all 4 of that front 4, Dean, have scored tonight. Plus Bernal, 5-2 Barcelona. Newcastle 6-3 behind on aggregate. And they've collapsed really in the early stages of the second half, Newcastle. Willock is going to be booked for, I say persistent fouling. Only a couple of fouls on Pedri, but referee Letexier decides that enough is enough, and he is booked. So the onus looks very much on Liverpool tonight as far as the English side's concerned in the Champions League. Remember, 1-0 down to Galatasaray going into the second leg. That is live on TalkSport at 8. Tottenham 2, Atletico 5 on TalkSport 2 at the same time on Thursday. we'll have Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa for you across the TalkSport network, and much more to come at the weekend. Yamal down the right for Barcelona, trying to glide beyond Hall, who stands up to the challenge very well. Hall wins it back off Yamal, and in that left back position is forced towards the dead ball line. Byrne hoists it clear for Newcastle United. In that one-on-one battle, Hall has done very well again.
Yeah, when he's faced him up, he's been equal to him, if not better. And then he's got forward himself. But Yamal will just drift. Such a wonderful player. He's had influence on the game already.
And now gone. Good turn by Yamal. Midway inside the Newcastle half. Early ball through the middle. Lewandowski is clear again here. It's 6. Lewandowski from Yamal's assist. A glorious Barcelona goal. They're turning on the style in the Nou Camp. And Toonami dreams really have turned to nightmares in Catalonia tonight. Newcastle have totally capitulated, and we're only 15 minutes into the second half. What looked like could be a history-making night is turning into a very gloomy one for followers of Newcastle United. Barcelona are absolutely rampant. Yamal with another peach of an assist. Lewandowski with the finish. 6-2 on the night. Barcelona lead.
Oh, it's showtime in the Nou Camp. And the biggest star is, of course, Yamal. Again, Dan Byrne, don't do it to yourself. Don't be embarrassed in the middle of the pitch. You don't need to go out of your position that far. Yamal, it's just brilliant. So much fun he's playing this game with. Little roll with the studs away from Dan Byrne, and then checks it back and just dives away from the Newcastle defender, and then the ball is absolutely perfect. The perfect weight, the perfect direction towards Lewandowski, away from Thiaw, and then Lewandowski makes Ramsdale look like an under-14 in the way that he just takes his time, a couple of feint shots, and then drives it into the far corner.
Well, extraordinary in its very own way, this second half so far. Newcastle produced heroics in the first, but now they face embarrassment. And Eddie Howe is going to make a couple of changes here. Sven Botman and Jacob Murphy are going to come on. Foul on Lewandowski in the left-back position by Joel Linton, who needs to be careful, having already been yellow-carded. I just wonder, Dean Ashton, anything wrong with the Newcastle approach tactically in this second half? Was it always going to be a risk to try and make the game more cagey and invite Barcelona onto them, or is it more individual errors defensively that have cost them?
A bit of both. I don't think it's one thing in particular. All round it's been pretty poor defensively. Let's give some credit. These are some of the best players in the world they're up against, so you make a slight mistake and they will punish you. But still, there hasn't been that defensive organisation to at least make it difficult.
It is 7-3 to Barcelona on aggregate. The two changes, Elanga and Joel Linton come off. Jacob Murphy and Botman come on. That will probably mean a switch to a back five for Newcastle United. And it's such a shame to say it after that first half performance, but it is, Dean, damage limitation now for Newcastle. They're 4 goals behind on aggregate, and there's surely no way back.
No, you can tell they're deflated. Like I said, they haven't got a natural replacement for Tonali in there, so Ramsey has gone as a deep-lying midfield player. That's not his role, really, which is why I think they've changed the system, just to give a bit of help to the middle part of the pitch, as that 6th goal said it all for Barcelona. Yamal just turning in midfield. Lewandowski played through so simply. It's wonderful play, but it's such poor defending to allow it to happen so easily.
And it's not about to necessarily get any easier for Newcastle when you look at who Barcelona are going to bring on shortly. Dani Olmo, Ferran Torres and young Xavi Espa, who has only made his senior debut in the last 2 matches, but is yet another of these La Masia Academy graduates that help make Barcelona the great name in European football that they are. 6-2. 6-2 in the second leg and 7-3 on aggregate. Live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. Kubasi on the halfway line, rolls it backwards to Garcia. I'm sure the Newcastle fans are somewhat in shock, and you have to feel for Eddie Howe on the biggest night of his managerial career. This game has just eluded Newcastle, escaped them oh so quickly. 15 minutes of madness, and it's 6-2 to Barcelona. And here they come again. Fermin Lopez down the left-hand side, two in the middle, they're queuing up towards Yamal. Good interception by Chow, who gets it away.
Yeah, vital, but desperate still, wasn't it, from Thiaw? 3 against 2, just not enough pace on the pass, was there? Now Thiaw just to intercept. His burn was left for dead once again by Fermin Lopez.
Just the 2 tonight for Robert Lewandowski, he's coming off. Cancelo and Fermin Lopez likewise, and really it's almost an admission from Hansi Flick that the tie is done. 20 minutes into the second half here, and Ferran Torres, Dani Olmo and Xavi Espa are the players to take to the field. Quality replacing quality. It is the Barcelona way, but just desperate disappointment, the feeling at the moment, I think, for Newcastle United, because it really seemed for long periods that the tie was in their grasp, and now it's got away from them.
Yeah, so much positivity in that first half, albeit disappointment defensively. They were a real threat on the break themselves. And look, at the very highest level, you make mistakes, you get punished, and the games just drift away so quickly, out of reach.
Barcelona have been too good, and Newcastle have certainly not been good enough defensively. Free kick to Barcelona, about 10 yards shy of the edge of the penalty area. Stay with us on TalkSport for Gallat out to play for a throw. 03717 22244 from about 10 o'clock, the sports bar tonight, once we're done at Anfield anyway. And you can have your say, Newcastle fans, on what began so promisingly, but has very quickly seen any dreams of the quarter-finals ruthlessly taken away from them by Barcelona. 6-2, Barcelona leading here, and 7-3 the aggregate score into the final quarter of the game. Pedri in the centre circle, weaving the ball out wide to the left, and Gerard Martin, who's now playing in a left-back role. Xavi Espa out on the right-hand side, number 42 with the lime green boots on, and here is Araujo in the middle of midfield. Pedri. Well, we did say that this isn't necessarily an absolutely vintage class of Barcelona team, but they've certainly got attacking weapons to trouble any side in the world, Dean.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, defensively, they were all over the place in the first half. They haven't been tested in the second.
Forward by Pedri through the middle, aimed at Dani Olmo, and it's through to Aaron Ramsdale. Newcastle players do look shell-shocked, don't they?
So difficult. It is. We saw it at Stamford Bridge last night as well. But once the game feels like it's gone, so difficult to pull yourselves out of it to get any sort of performance.
Rafinha trying to nudge the ball square to the on-rushing Dani Olmo, smuggled away by Newcastle United, whose goal now is to effectively keep the score down. Still over 20 minutes to go. Pedri forward at the centre circle, and now it's an exhibition in attacking football from Barcelona. Oh, and clear is Ferran Torres. Good block by Chow sliding in. It's come back to Pedri. Pedri nudges it wide. Xavi Espa. Now Yamal. A couple of feints from Yamal. Looks like he's playing park football. Looks for Espa. Great ball in over the top of Ferran Torres. Was that a no-look reverse ball by Yamal in the build-up there? It certainly looked like it. Bernal to Rafinha to Kubasi, and Barcelona are toying and teasing with Newcastle now. 20 minutes to go. Dani Olmo blocked off by in the middle of midfield by Livramento, who goes down and wins a free kick.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's difficult enough when you've got immense pressure on the opposition and they're still able to produce, but take that pressure away and they can toy with you Yamal, like you said, at the standstill, a couple of shimmies, and then, like you say, looking to his right back, played into the centre forward position. Brilliant ball.
Well, Yamal is on a hat-trick of assists tonight and has already scored one himself, and there may well be plenty more chances for Barcelona to add to their lead, but the tie is over. I don't think there's any question about that. Forward by Dani Olmo, prodded up the inside left. Up comes Ramsdale, and he just smashes the ball upfield into the dark skies overhead now at the Nou Camp, which is far from finished in terms of the redevelopment. Olmo with a great ball, angled out to the left-hand side. Rafinha is onto it. Three in the middle. Rafinha left-footed from the angle deflection on the cross. Chested down by Byrne, who was in it to the right, just about squeezes it into the path of Jacob Murphy. Murphy looks for Barnes. Midway inside his own half, out to the right, and Livramento now. Newcastle will have to learn the lessons from this, of course. Very ambitious ever since the takeover of the club, and these sorts of nights are where they want to be. Ultimately, though, the outcome is going to be a very sore one for them, and it could take quite a while to get over.
Yeah, and of course they've changed the system here to a back three, but now they can't play out through midfield. They're having to work incredibly hard just to get out of their own half at the moment now. Newcastle totally deflated, and Barcelona showing off.
Yeah, how tough is it for individuals on the Newcastle field as a player, Dean? Just how difficult are these last 19 minutes or so?
Well, you'd think you'd look around at the Nou Camp and think, what a night this could have been. But now all you want to do is get down the tunnel.
Oh, given away by Jacob Ramsey. Rafinha's clear! A magnificent 7 for Barcelona. Well, at times they're playing attacking football that is out of this world, but that goal was a gift. Jacob Ramsey with a monumentally poor square pass, intercepted by Rafinha, who had the simplest of tasks to roll it underneath Ramsdale. They're smiling in the stands at the Nou Camp. They're high-fiving on the field, and Newcastle have nowhere left to look as respectability drains away. Barcelona 7, Newcastle 2. It is 8-3 on aggregate. It is a humbling for Newcastle in Catalonia.
No. There's got to be some respect to wear this Newcastle shirt. You've got to understand the position that they're in, each and every player, and make sure they definitely don't score again. And what you don't do is gift them one. It's so poor from Ramsey. Doesn't really look. Trying to play a ball across his defensive line to his fullback. That's not the time to do it right now. Rafinha, so cool, so calm, so collected. Just easily siphoned it past Ramsdale. He had no pressure on him. Crisp into the back of the net. So poor from Newcastle.
I almost don't believe what I'm seeing, Dean Ashton, in this second half. 4 goals without reply in this second period for Barcelona. 7-2 against Newcastle and 8-3 on aggregate. The finish was relatively simple, really, for Rafinha, but the error to set it up from Ramsey was almost unforgivable. And Newcastle will have to recover ahead of the Tyne-Wear derby on Sunday, which we have live for you, live and exclusive here on Talk Sports. Sunday at St James's, all before the League Cup final between Arsenal and Manchester City. But what a chastening night this is for everybody at Newcastle United, and utter shock on Newcastle faces in terms of how this second half has panned out. Still 16 minutes left, and Harvey Barnes with a wry smile as the ball goes out of play.
Well, he's not the only one to make a mistake, Ramsey. There's been plenty, too many actually, to keep count of defensively from a Newcastle perspective. Some of the absolute basics have deserted them tonight.
Here come Barcelona yet again with Yamal on the right corner of the penalty area. Certainly it's going to be a statement victory, this, for Barcelona, and once again, as the flag goes up on the far side, a Premier League club has really been embarrassed in European competition.
And that's what it is. It is an embarrassment. Now the scoreline for Eddie Howe and his team. So now there needs to be pride in the performance, pride to keep Barcelona out again. Let's not try and do things that are going to take risks. Dan Burns just trying to be vocal, I think, with the team. Some pride needed now.
Joan Laporta, who was re-elected as Barcelona president on Sunday, is certainly enjoying it in the stands. 14 and a half minutes to go. Painful minutes these for Newcastle players. They're 7-2 down in the Nou Camp. Who would have thought at the start of the night that there would be 9 goals and that 7 of them would be for Barcelona?
Well, I thought there might be 9 goals, just not as many for Barcelona at half-time. I thought it could be any score, and it kind of has been.
It was 3-2 at half-time to Barcelona, but there can really be no rueing, penalty or no penalty, or the concession of a spot kick for Newcastle now. They really only have themselves to blame. Here they come with Murphy, low ball into the back post, cleared away by Espa, hits Araujo, drops for Martin, I think the offside flag up. This is Barcelona against Newcastle in the Champions League, live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. I mean, good luck at the end of the game with Adrian picking a man of the match for this one, Dean Ashton.
I know.
You'd almost have to do a man of the match from the first half and a man of the match from the second, because the contrast has been extraordinary. And it's always a pleasure to watch Barcelona when they're in this sort of attacking mood.
Oh, they're a joy. They've got wonderful attacking players. And what a ball.
Yamal through the middle, Ferran Torres onside, Ramsdale's come right out, makes a sprawling save. Ferran Torres from the dead ball line, pullback hits Byrne, Willock only half away, flag goes up, Newcastle get a momentary bit of respite.
I mean, that was just sensational from Yamal. He's just stood there, doesn't look like he's interested, outside of the left foot, right round the back of the Newcastle defence for Ferran Torres. Just a gorgeous ball, made to look so easy when it's so difficult.
Chow for Newcastle. Orange boots on, midway inside his own half the field. We'll be off to Anfield next on TalkSport for Liverpool against Galatasaray in what, dare I say it, will be a cagier affair, perhaps. And a little closer than the way this game has panned out. And then once we're done at Anfield, the Sports Bar takes your calls, Newcastle fans. 03717 223344. There haven't been many Champions League knockout ties quite like this one. Newcastle had only lost one of their last 10 matches in the Champions League, but the level of the defeat, the heavy scoreline, will weigh heavily on the shoulders of these Newcastle players going forward. And as I say, the game against Sunderland live on TalkSport on Sunday is either a great opportunity to respond or just the sort of game that you don't want after a defeat like this.
I mean, I think usually it's the best tonic, isn't it, to have something like that to focus on straight away and hopefully be able to forget this night very quickly.
Newcastle ruthlessly exposed, and Pedri's done it again. Yamal is in. Yamal saved by Ramsdale. He took one touch too many there, Yamal. He should have hit it first time, and he'd probably have beaten the goalkeeper. Newcastle counter, Gordon, nutmeg on Martin. Lovely angled ball by Gordon out to the left, and Harvey Barnes. He takes on Espa in a one-on-one. Harvey Barnes with a shot, and it's straight at Garcia.
Yeah, good break by Newcastle. Really good from Gordon to Barnes, who gets his shot away. But Pedri, just stunning. Like in a house full of mirrors. He still found the gap through to Yamal, who tried to outdo Ramsdale by just shifting it before he took his shot with his left foot. Well done, Ramsdale. Kept up, didn't commit, and then made a really good save with his right forearm.
And it was a sumptuous pass for the umpteenth time in the game for Barcelona. And Yamal denied by Ramsdale, who, in fairness to him, has hardly been to blame for any of the goals. I'm trying to think back, I'm almost losing count, Dean, but he's kept the score down as Johan Garcia, the goalkeeper, goes to ground and will have a stoppage in play.
Yeah, I mean, Ramsdale has, of course, made some good saves. Like Russian dolls, he seems to have got smaller and smaller with every goal that's gone in.
Well, I'm not sure why Garcia has gone down. Was he hurt making that very simple save from Barnes?
Well, he's just felt his calf, that's for sure, and I don't think they need a tactical timeout.
I was going to say, no need at 7-2 up and 8-3 on aggregate to slow the game down for Barcelona. They have got Wojciech Szczesny ready to come on, the former Arsenal keeper. And Barcelona are going to lose their goalkeeper to injury here. They're 4 points clear in the race for La Liga ahead of Real Madrid. They've got another home game against Rayo Vallecano, who must be watching this very nervously on Sunday. And so the enforced change, here comes Szczesny.
Yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? Didn't seem to particularly do much, but obviously as he's tried to take off with that left leg, he just felt his calf.
And Newcastle make a change in the same instance. Anthony Gordon replaced by Will Osula, who did start the first leg. I mean, it's all ifs, buts and maybes, and it doesn't really feel that relevant now, but maybe Newcastle will think back to the first leg and feel that if they had been 1-0 up and hadn't conceded that 96th minute penalty, maybe things could have been different. Perhaps they could have approached the game slightly differently, but they have been utterly blown away, destroyed by Barcelona in this second half. 7-2 down.
Well, I mean, it was an exhausting first half, wasn't it, for everyone involved? And Newcastle just seemed to come out tired. Just didn't get to the pace of the game that was needed. And Barcelona took full advantage. And it just happened so quickly. It was away from them. There was never going to be a response after that.
8-3 to Barcelona on aggregate. Eddie Howe watches on, arms folded on the near side touchline. Jason Tindall just to his left. This will hurt Eddie Howe more than anybody, I would think. Szczesny, first touch for the substitute goalkeeper, and now Gerard Martin in the left-back area rolls the pass forward towards Bernal. Bernal loses out on the near side to Ramsey, and then a double deflection takes it into the path of Kubasi, who just whacks it into touch. 7.5 minutes to go, and it feels like one of those scenarios where there probably won't be much added time because there's no need. The tie is over.
No, I think there was -3 seconds at Stamford Bridge last night. Be very similar here, you would expect.
11 goals scored over the two legs, 8 for Barcelona. Header away at the near post by Martin, and now Ferran Torres collects possession. Looks for Rafinha, nearly played it through the legs of the defender to roll it back into the path of Ferran Torres. Good work, half good work anyway by Willock to win it back. He nearly lost possession, but has eventually forced a throw. And Newcastle v Sunderland live on Sunday on Talk Sport. There's plenty of top-level commentaries for you at the weekend. Brighton against Liverpool on Saturday, Bournemouth Man United on Friday night. And we've got the League Cup final for you, of course, the first showpiece event of the season in England. The League Cup final, Arsenal against Manchester City, live on Talk Sport on Sunday afternoon from Wembley Stadium. The ball has been played backwards by Burn to Ramsdale, who just about smuggles it wide to his right, and Chow.
I do wonder how Newcastle fans will see this performance. Having watched the first half and how competitive they were and how close it was and what they created, all right, what they gave up as well. But then the second half, just the contrast is incredible.
Yamal for Barcelona, who are not finished yet. 30 yards out in a central position. He rolls it backwards to Xavi Esbar. Mexican waves at the Nou Camp now, as if to rub salt into Newcastle wounds. The home support are very content with what they're seeing. Kubasi on the halfway line with the angled ball out to the left, and Rafinha. 5.5 minutes remain. Rafinha's little dink over the head of Livramento to find Martin. Now Pedri looking up. Pedri plays it backwards into the centre circle, and Araujo juggles the ball momentarily. Xavi Espa out to the right-hand side. 1-2 between him and Yamal and Bernal, and it's just a question now of whether Barcelona can add further goals. Always the possibility with Yamal on the ball that even in a tight and congested area that he can make something happen. Scampering forward now is Pedri, a long way out, works it wide to Espa. There are a couple of players in the middle. Tees back to Yamal with a curling shot, and Ramsdale juggled it in front of his face and nearly dropped it, but credit to him, held on.
Yeah, that would have been special from there, from Yamal, cutting in on his left foot. A little bit of space for the first time away from Hall. Stung the palms of Ramsdale, who took a second attempt to grab hold of it.
Throw in the left-back position for Newcastle, which Hall will take. 3,000 supporters, the vast majority of whom have stayed to the end, and that's full credit to the Newcastle fans. High up in one corner of the stadium. It was 3-2 at half-time and 4-3 on aggregate, but the lead for Barcelona has now extended to 7-2 on the night and 8-3 on aggregate. There was a point where we were almost losing count. Across comes Botman for Newcastle, only gets it half away. Byrne behind him, sweeps the ball into touch. It'll take quite a bit of analysing, I'm sure, for Eddie Howe to work out exactly where it's gone wrong, but too many individual errors defensively tonight for Newcastle, it's felt like, as I think another change is perhaps underway, or is he asking Barcelona to take the throw again, the referee? There was certainly a pause there. Not entirely sure why.
Maybe just wasn't taken from the right place, but yeah, a lot to analyse for Eddie Howe, because I'm sure they will have planned to defend a lot better than they have done. As a team, I'm talking about as well.
Chow has played it on to Asula. Edge of the D is Ramsey. Ramsey to the left and Barnes. 3 minutes left. Ramsey turns away. 3 minutes more for Newcastle to endure ultimately. And it certainly didn't look like that at one stage as Xavi Espa, the 18-year-old, slides in. It's like a conveyor belt of top quality, isn't it, that Barcelona Academy, Dean? Year on year, they just produce the new stars of the future.
Yeah, they're usually not bad, are they, with the ball at their feet either.
Hall is going to take a throw here for Newcastle, who have sent Botman and Chow and Byrne forward, long towards all three at the near post. Byrne couldn't get his head to it, hit by Ramsey, and it smashes against the back of Araujo, who goes to ground. He took that from very close range. Corner to Newcastle coming up. 7-2 to Barcelona in the second leg. 8-3 on aggregate. To Anfield we will go shortly on Talk Sport, and of course Atletico against Tottenham will be on Talk Sport 2. He took that square in the face, actually, Araujo.
He did. It was brave, wasn't it? With his clenched jaw, as he thought it might hit him, but didn't shy away from it. Took the full force on the side of the head.
Well, the Barcelona support are in delirium. Catalan flags being waved, red and blue flags being waved. Newcastle corner in towards Barnes at the near post, and the header flashes wide. 90 seconds to go.
Consolation all that would have been, but Barnes, I think, needs to do better. He was free there with the header at the near post, just needed to be glanced towards the far, got too much on it, up and over.
Well, they're dancing in the stands at the moment, and by the way, it'll be Barcelona against either Atletico or Spurs in the quarter-final. Newcastle have the ball down by the corner flag. We're into the final minute of normal time. Maybe Newcastle will have the last word. Joe Willock from the corner of the area sends it forward to Hall, whose right-footed shot is easily smothered by Szczesny. I think Barcelona felt they really should have had an offside flag anyway. Wouldn't have mattered in the context of the tie. 8-3 Barcelona on aggregate. Again, one of those matches that had to be witnessed in one form or other seen or heard to be believed. A total second half collapse from Eddie Howe's Newcastle United. Penny for his thoughts and those of Jason Tindall as well. Newcastle fans stand watching from the very top of the middle tier at the Nou Camp, the top tier unfinished as yet. When they eventually get it done, the capacity will be over 100,000. Byrne in conversation with Chesney here. There is a delay to play. And that is the end, the final whistle on Newcastle's Champions League campaign. Newcastle's nightmare in the Nou Camp. An embarrassing, chastening and ultimately infamous night for Newcastle United, who have been hammered by a rampant Barcelona, and this result and performance will take some time to sink in and get over for the team from the Tyne. Barcelona with 3-2 up at half-time and only 4-3 ahead on aggregate. Newcastle were excellent in that first period. Anthony Elanga scored twice, either side of goals from Rafinha and Bernal. But Yamal's penalty right on half-time put Barcelona in front on the night and in the tie. And in the second half, they produced a simply blistering attacking display to leave Newcastle clutching at thin air. Fermin Lopez scored